Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Know what a petard is? I always knew it was something you got hoisted by. You know, hoist by his own petard. But I never knew what it was. So I looked it up. It was an explosive device used centuries ago by warring armies to blow things up. A device which sometimes blew up unexpectedly, thus hoisting the user into the air, to say the least. I mention all this because that's exactly what seems to have happened to a certain middle-aged lady known as Madame Zora.
Are you telling us you're a real ghost?
I'm not whistling Dixie, doll.
But you can't be.
No? Why not?
Because my wife is a fake medium. A phony. She just puts on an act. She just plain isn't a medium.
She is now, Buster. She sure is now.
Our mystery drama, Medium Rare, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by George Lowther and stars Joan Lovejoy and Robert Dryden. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser, and Buick Motor Division. I'll be back shortly with Act One. We're told that there are people who have the power to communicate with the souls of those who have died and passed on into another world. They are known as psychics, sensitives, mediums. Unhappily, there are also people who pretend to have this uncanny ability, fake mediums, who prey upon the credulous, the gullible. One of these, I regret to say, was an otherwise rather decent woman who dubbed herself Madame Zora, and who, with the assistance of her husband Artie, well, listen.
I'm sick of the racket. I'm sick of myself. And if you want the truth, Artie, I am sick of you.
Oh, come on, Gladys. What'd I do?
Nothing. That's just the trouble. You never do anything. You don't even bother to look for a job anymore.
What's the sense of looking for what isn't there? Actors are out of work in droves.
The trouble is you are always out of work in droves.
Okay, so I haven't made it yet. But someday, you mark my word, someday I'll be a star.
Oh, yeah, that'll be the day. Right now, it is today, and Mrs. Norris will be here any minute. Now, Artie, somehow, some way, we've got to keep her coming back for more seances.
Well, not a chance, you ask me. Unless the late lamented Mr. Norris tells her where he stashed that $1 million in cold cash and tells her today, she's going to split.
We've got to give her an answer. Otherwise, well, I just don't know where the next sucker is coming from. Oh, she's here. Into the bedroom, quick.
On my way.
You tested the microphone setup?
Natch.
Well, here goes nothing. Mrs. Norris, how nice to see you. Come in, come in. Now, I'm all ready for you, and Mrs. Norris, believe me, I have a feeling that today your dear departed husband is going to tell you what you want to know.
He'd better. Or it's the last $50 you'll ever get from me, Madame Zora.
I have done all in my power to help you.
Well, in that case, perhaps I'd better find a medium with more power. Shall we get on with it?
Yes. Yes, of course. If you'll just be seated at the seance table. And now, let me turn down the lights. So. And now I will seat myself and go into trance. He is here. He is with us. You are there. Are you not, Mr. Norris?
I am here, Madame Zora.
Your wife has joined me once again so she can talk to you. Will you talk with her?
Hello, Marie.
Herkimer, is that you? Really you.
Would I lie to you, Marie?
No, you wouldn't dare. But Madame Zora might.
Marie, believe me, you may put your trust in Madame Zora.
Herkimer, where is that money?
Marie, you know I've been trying to remember where I put that million. For weeks I've been trying to remember, but...
That does it. I've had enough. You can come out of your trance, Madame Zora, if you are in one, and never again will I come into the...
Down. Cool it.
What?
I said cool it. Knock it off.
Who are you? What?
Handsome Harry Harrigan, they used to call me, sweetheart. But never mind that. You want to know where hubby cribbed the cabbage, right?
Cribbed the cabbage?
Hid the dough. Okay, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you because I'm sick of hearing you ask. Also, I've got some business with Madame Zora, and you're chewing too much beef. You got something to write with, pencil, paper?
Yes, I've got...
All right, write this down. Geneva Bank, Switzerland. Got that?
Yes.
Number 753-8492-W. Got that?
Yes, but...
That's the number of the safety deposit box in a Geneva bank where your hubby hid the long green. Okay. You got what you want? Pay Madame Zora her 50 clams and split.
Yes. Yeah, yes, I would... I don't know what to say. Well, thank you, Madame Zora. Thank you.
Not at all, not at all.
And thank you, Harry. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Now fade, will you?
Fade?
Scram. Beat it.
Oh, yes. I'm going. Thank you.
Artie, you can come out of the bedroom now.
What? What's happening? Who are you? Where are you?
I'm here, but you can't see me. I haven't learned how to, what they call, materialize yet.
Materialize? Are you telling us that you're a real ghost?
I'm not whistling Dixie, doll.
Artie, I think I'm going to faint.
Later. Right now, I need you. I need a job done, and I picked you to do it.
What kind of a job?
You'll find out. First, let me give you a little scam about me. Put you in a picture, like they say. Before I kicked off a couple of years ago, I was one of the best card shops in the business. Handsome Harry, they called me. Handsome Harry Harrigan, because... I do say so myself. I was a pretty cool-looking cat. Not like this creep you married.
What do you mean, creep?
Go take a look at yourself in a mirror and you'll see what I mean. You want to be an actor, you got to act the part. Look like an actor, talk like an actor, dress like an actor. You look, act, talk, and dress like a bum.
Oh, I've been telling him that for years, but would he listen to me? Oh, no, not him.
Some other time, Gladys, huh? Right now, I got to fill you in on why I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Harry. I may call you Harry.
Handsome. I was always called Handsome. Now, over here, in this other world, I'm doing a stretch in what they call limbo. It's kind of like being in a can in prison, you know what I mean? That's because I got hate in my soul, and I got to get rid of it.
Hate in your soul? You got hate?
For a gunzel named Tex Morgan, who 3 years ago took me to the cleaners with a pair of loaded dice and took my mouse along with everything else.
Well, what were you doing with the mouse?
A dame, a skirt, girlfriend.
Oh.
Dory. That was her name. A looker, a bombshell. Tex, he cops my dough and her. I'm looking for them a whole year to put the blast on them, to get revenge. When my ticker goes bluey, and, well, that's the end of that. So now I'm over here in this limbo place, and I can't get out till I, what they call, purge myself of this hate I got for Tex and Dory.
What do you want with us? How are we going to help you get rid of your hate feelings?
I'll explain all that when we get to Vegas.
Vegas? Las Vegas?
There's another Vegas? Yeah, Las Vegas. That's where they are right now, Tex and Dory. He's a blackjack dealer at the Pan of Gold.
Suppose we don't go.
Don't go?
Well, you haven't told us what's in it for us yet. What do we get out of all this if we help you?
It's what you'll get out of it if you don't help me.
Like what?
Artie! What? The table, my expensive seance table. I've got 6 payments to go yet.
Bouncing up and down on the floor. Look, it's flying into the air. And Gladys, look out!
Oh, he's broken my seance table in splinters. Harry, you wrecked my table with 6 payments.
Are you and Meathead here going to Vegas? Or not going to Vegas?
Artie, start packing.
Dory?
Yes, Tex.
Clean shirt?
Bureau, top drawer. I'll get it.
Oh, no, you don't. You just stay right there on the couch. Remember, you're resting for 2 now.
Oh, darling. Having a baby isn't really the big deal you're making out of it.
Maybe not, but you are. To me. The biggest deal I ever made, honey.
Oh, Tex.
Ah, baby.
Hey. Come on. You got 15 minutes to get over to the Pan of Gold.
I'll make it. I wouldn't be late today for anything.
Do you really think Roscoe will?
Look, would he have called me into his private office yesterday, talked to me like a loving father, if he didn't mean that I'm going to get the nod?
Supervisor, head dealer, oh, Tex, you'll be in charge of the whole section.
Yeah, bringing home a lot more bacon, that's what counts. Especially right now. Kid on the way. And the house, the little house.
But can we afford it? Really, Tex, can we?
You want it, don't you?
You know I do.
And you're going to get it.
Oh,
You're the one that convinced me to go straight, and Dory, I bless you for it. Hauling down a straight salary, working a blackjack table on the up and up. I'm clean. I am Tex Morgan citizen. And Dory, it feels good, solid.
then no regrets.
Regrets?
Well, being married, kid on the way and all.
You shouldn't even ask.
Wild, man. Wild. You sound like you've never been in a casino before, Artie.
Me? I never been west of Hoboken, New Jersey. Gladys, look at this place, would you? Roulette wheels, slot machines, crap tables, I don't know what all.
Blackjack tables. Like that one over there. With Tex Morgan dealing.
That's him? The slim one with the glasses?
That's him. My first mark, my first step to, like they say in limbo, purging my soul of hate. You ready to go to work, Gladys?
What do you want me to do?
Take a hand at Morgan's table.
Play blackjack? I don't know how. I've never played. Artie has, though.
How much dough you got on you, Gladys?
Would you believe $7?
Gladys, by the time you leave that table, Tex Morgan's table, you won't have just 7 skins or 70 or 700 or 7,000. You're going to leave that table with 17,000 iron men.
17 grand?
For openers. We'll really start putting the hooks to Tex Morgan tomorrow.
Look, I don't get this. I don't know the first thing about playing blackjack.
But I know everything. Also, I'm a ghost.
What's that got to do with it?
I can see through anything, including cards. My revenge on Tex and Dory begins. And, baby, let Handsome Harry tell you, revenge is sweet.
Handsome Harry Harrigan is taking the wrong route to purging his soul. Madame Zora, fake medium, was, as I said at the outset, hoisted by her own petard. And quite honestly, I look forward to Handsome Harry unhappy though he may be in limbo, being hoisted by his. We'll see when I return shortly with Act 2. Madame Zora, fake medium, finds herself in real and anything but medium trouble, completely under the domination of the ghost of Handsome Harry Harrigan. It seems that when Handsome Harry's ticker went bluey, he found himself in limbo, to move on from which point he must purge his soul of the hate he feels for Tex Morgan and his former girlfriend, Dory. And so, in the gambling casino of the Pan of Gold in Las Vegas...
Hit me. 20.
18. You win again. Joey, get Roscoe quick.
Gladys, lay 1,000 on the next hand.
Okay, Harry.
Ma'am?
What?
You say something?
Oh, no, nothing. 1,000 on the next hand.
1,000 it is. Again?
Yeah, hit me.
Stand pat, Gladys.
With 15?
He's got 13. Top card's an ace. He'll take it and go over.
Ma'am?
I'll sit with these.
Suit yourself. One more to the house. 23.
Pay me.
You wanted me, Tex?
Yeah, Roscoe. Excuse me, ma'am. I'll be back in a second.
You want to tell me?
Roscoe, this is
I heard.
him.
How come she's breaking the house?
I don't know.
You don't.
Of course I don't, Roscoe.
You don't know this dame?
No.
Never see her before.
No.
She's in the house, what? How much?
14 grand.
Close the table.
Okay. Table's closed, ma'am.
What do you mean, close?
He means closed.
Well, now, wait just a minute.
Hey, collect your winnings and toss Tex a $100 chip.
Well, okay. Just give me my winnings. And, here's 100 for you, dealer.
Say, go buy yourself a piece of luck.
Go buy yourself a piece of luck.
Oh, my God.
Was something wrong? You've gone white as a ghost.
Where'd you get that line, lady?
What line?
Handing the dealer 100 skins and saying, go buy yourself a piece of luck.
Why? What's it to you?
Nothing, only it was a trademark of a gambler, a big-time swinger. He died more than 2 years ago.
And then, Dory, then she says, go buy yourself a piece of luck. Just the way Handsome used to.
But what of it? It's something almost anyone might say.
It was Handsome's trademark. And another thing, all through the play, she kept rubbing the right side of her nose with her index finger, just the way Handsome used to.
Well, honestly, Tex, I don't know what you're getting at.
I'm saying that Handsome Harry Harrigan was at that table, my table.
Tex, Handsome's been dead for more than 2 years.
He's come back to get me.
Tex!
He swore he would with his dying breath, he swore it. Face it, Dory, I cheated him out of a fortune with loaded dice.
But that was before you went straight.
I wouldn't cut any ice with Handsome, dead or alive. What about you? You left him for me. You deserted him, he said.
Yeah, but he knew better than that. He knew the hell he'd put me through. How many times did he beat me up? How many threats did he make to disfigure me with acid if I ever even looked cross-eyed at another man? I was scared to death of him, Tex. Petrified. Until I fell in love with you, and I just knew I couldn't go on with him anymore, no matter what he did.
Dory, I tell you, he's come back. I know he's come back.
Well, I don't believe in ghosts, and I never will. But if they do exist, if Handsome has come back, I'm not afraid of him or what he'll try to do. There's no reason to be afraid of him. Not anymore.
How do you figure that?
Because we love each other, Tex. We love each other deeply and devotedly. Maybe it sounds corny, but from where I sit, love is stronger than hate any day.
Artie? Artie! What have you done to yourself?
Well, I wanted to do for years. As soon as I got some dough, go out and buy me some new threads. Handsome wasn't telling me nothing I didn't know when he said, I want to be an actor, I got to dress the part.
Well, I never believed clothes make the man, but they sure make you.
I'm more than just a clothes horse, doll.
What in the world? Artie, you sounded just like Handsome Harry.
I am Handsome Harry, sweetheart. Just using stupid's body for a while.
You are using Artie's body?
Until I learn how to materialize, if I ever do. They tell me on the other side, in that limbo joint, it takes a lot of patience and practice. Yeah, what do they know? They even told me I'm getting this hate out of my soul the wrong way.
Well, I haven't wanted to say anything.
All right,
but,
so don't. They say taking out my hate on Tex and Dory only make my hate grow bigger. Said I gotta find forgiveness in my heart. I told them to take a powder. I know what I'm doing.
I hope so.
Hey, what's eating you all of a sudden? You won a fortune the past week beating Tex at blackjack.
She came to see me, Dory.
Oh?
She said Tex was scared. That nose-rubbing bit, you know. That he thought I was you returned from the dead.
He's right. You are. Same difference, anyhow.
Well, I told her I didn't know what she was talking about. So she said, well, anyhow, to please lay off Tex that he was in hot water at the casino because of the losses at his table, and... Well, look, Handsome, she seemed like an awfully nice kid and a decent kid to me. And it comes to that I've grown to like Tex Morgan, too.
Oh, stop. You're breaking my heart.
Handsome, the way I feel now...
Wise up. What I feel is all that matters. And don't forget, if I can take possession of Artie's body, I can do the same with yours. So don't get any fancy ideas about running out on me. You got that?
Yeah.
Then hang on to it, doll. Hang on real tight.
Yeah? Send him in. Sit down, Tex. Tex, I'm sorry about this, real sorry. I guess you know I was going to make you a head dealer of the blackjack section.
You're not?
Worse. You're fired.
Oh, come on,
We can put
Roscoe.
up with a lot from our dealers, Tex, but one thing we won't put up with is a crooked dealer.
I told you when you took me on 2 years ago that I was playing straight from then on, and I have.
Maybe.
There's no maybe about it, Roscoe. I'm married to one of the finest women in the world. I've got a kid on the way. We're planning to buy a house here in Vegas, and you're saying that I'd risk all that by going crooked again.
I'm talking facts. Sorry, pal. I get my orders from upstairs. You're out of the pan of gold and every other casino in town.
He said he'd get me, and he's done it.
Hey, Artie, you should have bought more luggage after buying all those new suits. How are we going to pack them up for the trip back east?
You taking a powder, doll?
Oh, it's you, Handsome. You've taken possession of Artie's body again.
Yeah. Handsome Harry in the flesh. Artie's flesh. What's all this with the packing?
We're going back to New York.
Who says?
I do.
I don't. And I give the orders, sweetheart. You and Artie are staying right here in Vegas.
But what for? The job you wanted done? It's done.
Hasn't even started.
Now, what do you mean?
Getting Tex fired was just the first step. I swore I'd make him regret the day he was born, and that's what I'm going to do. He thought he was all set, married to my doll, a kid on the way. Could have been my kid.
Handsome, listen to me.
What for? All you're going to do is run off at the mouth about forgive and forget. No more arguments, Gladys. I'm following through with every single step in my plan, following through to the hilt.
Well, how many steps are there?
3. You took care of the first. Artie will take care of the second.
And the third?
That'll take care of itself. All right, I come here to get step number 2 set up with Artie. I got to talk to him. Where is he?
You're in him.
Oh, hey, I forgot. Well, I can't talk to myself, can I? Okay, Artie, take over.
You say something about buying more luggage, Gladys?
Yeah, I did, Artie, but skip it for now, sweetheart.
Sweetheart.
Handsome's here. He wants to talk to you.
About what?
I got a job for you, punk.
What kind of a job, Handsome?
Acting. You're going to be an actor.
An actor?
Oh, honey, don't listen to him. He's putting you on.
What part do I play?
A murderer.
A murderer?
I kill somebody?
Not just somebody, Artie. You'll kill a very special person. You'll kill the girl who used to be my girlfriend. You killed Dory Morgan.
A short act, but a sweet one, Handsome Harry said, believing, as perhaps all too many do, that revenge is sweet. But chemistry teaches the immutable, perhaps divine law, that the sweeter a thing, the more sour it can become, given certain conditions. Personally, I have the feeling that Handsome's sweet revenge is going to turn very sour indeed. I'll be back shortly with Act 3. Helpless in the grip of a ghost, the ghost of gambler Handsome Harry Harrigan, fake medium Madame Zora, real name Gladys, and her would-be actor husband Artie find that they must do whatever Handsome tells them to do. Now, to the horrified astonishment of both, Handsome has told Artie that he is going to murder Dory Morgan.
Murder Dory Morgan? Kill that nice, sweet kid?
Don't hand me that nice, sweet kid, Jazz. She's a two-timing tramp.
No, she is a decent girl. And she's carrying a baby.
Tex Morgan's baby.
I don't care whose baby it is. Kill her and it's double murder. And I'm not letting Artie do one.
Stupid here will do what I tell him, and there's nothing you can do to stop it.
But why? What are you going to get out of killing Dory?
Not what I'm going to get, sweetheart. What Tex is going to get. The misery that'll make him wish he'd never been born. He'll live with that misery inside him, burning in him, in his gut, for the rest of his life. First, he loves her. And he does, I know that. Second, he'll know he killed her. Not me, him. Every day of his life, he'll think, 1,000 times a day, he'll think, if I hadn't stolen her from Handsome, she wouldn't be dead.
He didn't steal her. She loved him.
Love? You know something? I'm sick of that word. That's all they talk about over here, love. And that's all you talk about lately. You, a 2-bit phony medium that sucked in any mark you could find, sucked them dry, even when they didn't have a pot to put a penny in. And you talk to me of love?
Okay. I guess I have no right. I've got to admit I don't know much about it. It's new to me, love.
What? You mean me, Gladys?
Yes, Artie. I love you.
Well, how about that? You hear that, Handsome? How about that?
So don't get all flaked out. I know dames, and this one you're married to is no exception. Love you. She needs you is all. There ain't a dame in the world. There isn't a person in the world wouldn't sell his mother down the drain.
You're judging others by what you are. Can't you get it through your head? Can't they on the other side somehow beat it into you that there are good people in the world? Honest, generous, decent people?
Show me one.
What?
Show me one. Just one. And maybe then I'll believe. Well, go on, doll. Show me one. Name me one.
Dory.
Dory?
I can prove it to you.
Yeah? How?
If I do, will you let her off the hook? Will you let her live her life with Tex?
Sure.
It's a deal, handsome?
It's a deal, baby. It's a deal.
It isn't the end of the world.
The end of our plans, our future. Sure, the end of the house. I can't afford a mortgage now.
So, we live in an apartment.
Yeah, and how long will I be able to afford the rent?
Tex, I can always get a job to help out.
With a baby?
Well, there's sitters, people who stay with kids while they're...
No.
Tex.
I said no, and I mean it. It'd be like the way I was brought up, dragged up. My father couldn't make it either, so my mother went to work, and my grandmother, she took care of me. Then she died, and I went on the streets. Changed my life, Dory. It taught me to cheat and lie and sucker anybody I could until I met you and fell in love with you.
Oh, you.
May I come in?
Well, yes.
I don't blame you for hesitating, Mrs. Morgan. I guess I've kind of put a crimp in your life.
Oh, what? Not at all.
You don't have to con me. I know the score. Your husband's in trouble, Mrs. Morgan. Bad trouble.
Is he?
You know it.
I don't know anything of the sort. Well, never mind that. What is it you want?
I've come here to make you an offer.
Offer?
In the past week, I won $130,000 from your husband. Well, the casino, actually. But he was the dealer, and he lost his job because of it.
True.
The deal I've come here to make, and no questions now, I'll give you that $130,000 if you leave him.
You will give me everything you won from Tex if I leave him? What you mean is desert him?
Yes.
In other words, sell him out for $130,000?
Well, that's one way of putting it.
Tell me another. Harry was evil, and the man I'm married to is good. As for you, I don't know what you are. I don't think you know what you are. But you'd be smart if you found out.
Found out?
I didn't know who I was with Harry, but I did. And I do. With Tex. You think you can buy that? With $130,000? You think you can buy it with $130 zillion? I said I'd give you one answer. Here it is. You can't.
I was sure I couldn't.
Then why did you come here?
To prove my point. To somebody else. But we had a deal, you Welcher. I said I'd prove there are good people in this world. Decent people capable of love, and I did. She turned down your offer flat.
You go and you buy a gun and you kill her. That's all.
I'm not buying any gun, and I'm not killing anybody, especially a fine human being like Dory Morgan.
All right. Now, let me tell you, too, something. Thanks to me, you're worth $130,000. You're on easy street. I can see to it you wind up right back where you started, in that crummy New York apartment, scrounging for nickels and dimes. Now, what's it to be?
As far as I'm concerned, you can take your $130,000 and stuff it.
Tex and Dory, two people you never met till now, and you'd give up a fortune for them?
And for what they stand for. for what they are. She loves him, he loves her. And
love, a stacked deck, a con game.
Call it what you want. I'm not killing Dory Morgan.
And you neither, huh, stupid?
Well, I don't know.
Artie!
Gladys, baby, I'm sorry, but I've been thinking. I don't want to go back to that lousy New York dump and start living from hand to mouth again.
You'll do it? Artie, you'll do it?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, Artie.
Yes?
Mrs. Morgan?
Yes?
I'm a friend of Texas. Is he home?
Well, no, he just left. But you must have just passed him on your way in.
Oh, it's too bad. I got a job for him.
A job? Oh, well. Won't you come in?
Thanks.
Sit down. Sit down. What kind of a job is it? What is this? A gun.
Listen, I don't like to do this, but I gotta.
Gotta what?
Kill you.
Kill me?
Yeah, I gotta do it. I got no choice, you see. It won't hurt. I'll make it quick, so it don't hurt, and I can't do it, Harry. I can't do it.
I can. Easy.
Your voice. It's changed. You sound like...
Handsome Harry Harrigan, Dory.
Oh!
Your old flame. Handsome Harry.
But you're dead.
Only my body, doll. The spirit, it don't die. It goes on living till it gets itself purged or something. That's why I'm here. Inside this creep's body. My spirit using his body to kill you, you two, Diamond.
Harry.
And I won't make it quick. I'm going to make it slow. And very painful, doll. Very.
Oh, Harry. Harry, no. I don't care about me, but the baby. I'm carrying a baby.
His baby.
It doesn't matter whose. It's a baby. It's a new life. Oh, Harry, no.
I'm telling you, stand still.
Harry, listen to me. Please listen. I fell in love with Tex. I couldn't help myself. I couldn't stand it anymore with you. The beatings and the threats. If I'd loved you, Harry...
You did.
No.
You loved me.
Never. I wanted to. I wanted to, but you never gave me the chance.
Right. I gave you everything you've asked for. Clothes, furs, jewels, everything.
Everything but love, because you never had any of that in you to give.
What? A lot you know. A hell of a lot you know.
You beat me. You threatened me.
Because I loved you. Because I was scared of losing you. I seen you flirting with another guy.
Never,
Then it would send me up the wall. I'd make love to you, and you were like ice. And it would drive me bananas. I wanted you. I needed you. And never once did I ever have you.
Harry.
I'm sorry I beat you. I'm sorry I threatened you, but I couldn't help myself because the thought of losing you. I knew I'd die if it happened. And I did.
Oh, Harry.
So you owe me, doll. For what you did to me, you owe me. And you're paying. You're paying in full. You're paying now.
No! Harry? You dropped the gun.
I can't kill you. I still love you.
And maybe I love you a little now. What is it, Harry?
Calling to me. Guys and dolls in limbo. Huh? What? Hey, that's out of sight. I mean, say that's really something else.
What? Harry, what is it?
Dory, believe it or not, I'm purged.
Love, hate. Two sides of the same coin, they say. If that is so, perhaps I can be forgiven for saying that Handsome Harry really flipped. Anyhow, he's purged. I'll be back shortly. You'll be interested to learn that Tex found another job, and he and Dory are deliriously happy with their baby boy, Harry. Gladys and Artie live in the country. They bought a house and barn, in which Artie stages and stars in his own plays. As for Handsome Harry, he went on finally to a higher plane, wherever that is. Our cast included Joan Lovejoy, Robert Dryden, Mason Adams, and George Petrie. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown.
Now, a preview of our next tale.
What can I do for you, Gray?
Well, I was wondering if you'd listened to that last report of mine on Rattus Norvegicus.
No, but I was just about to, actually. I got the tape recorder right here on my bedside table and was just about to turn it off.
Oh, fine. Listen, I'm anxious to get your reaction. Could you call me when you finish?
I'll call you back, Gray.
Report to Dr. Christopher Morton from Dr. Grayson Carter on experiment number 17 for Rattus Norvegicus. Chris, as you know, my entire theory is based on my conviction that of the 2,000 rat species in the world,
What in the world is that?
rat, especially the brown
something in the room.
Rattus
Let's turn on the light.
is the most intelligent.
Good Lord. It's a rat. The biggest I've ever seen.
Many other species.
No!
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Welcome to the terrifying world of the imagination. My tale is about greed, the lust for gold. It has been said about the hunger for money that it is an overwhelming appetite that feeds on itself and can never be sated. Even the most honorable man can feel the hunger pangs that are caused by poverty.
I thought of you trying to make a home for us out of the few dollars I earn.
I was wet and tired and angry, and I kept thinking he has so much and locks it away, not even spending anything for his own comfort, keeping it from us who need it so badly.
What are you saying, Hans?
I'm saying that in my mind a red dot began to form, and it grew and grew till it turned into a word I could read.
Hans!
That word was kill.
Our mystery drama, The Return of Anatole Chevenic, was written especially for Mystery Theater by Sidney Slon and stars Alexander Scourby. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act One. It was a cold, rainy evening in late fall that found Hans Chevenic pressing forward, leaning into the wind, down the dark side street in the poor section of the town where his uncle Anatole lived and ran his junk business. It was with a feeling of relief that he made the shelter of the overhang of his uncle's porch. He paused, more out of reluctance to face the man than fatigue from his long, wet walk.
Oh, you! Wonder you bothered to come at all. I got a good mind to slam the door in your face and tell you to go back where you came from.
I'm sorry, Uncle Anatole.
I'm sorry, Uncle Anatole. Well, come in, and shut the door. You get in my house all wet. When I ask you to come at 7, I don't mean 7:30.
Look, I don't get through with my other job until 6:15.
Only takes 30 minutes to get here on the bus.
Uncle, it was raining.
All right, raining. I know that. So let's drop that and get down to work. You're to go down into the cellar and start bringing up all the copper scrap piled up there. Then I want you...
Uncle,
well, what is it now?
Vicky made a sandwich for me. I haven't had my supper yet.
Always some excuse to stall.
I'm not stalling.
Well, go ahead, eat. Don't waste more time talking about it. What have you got there?
Just some bread and a piece of cheese.
Curse to me that I haven't had anything since this morning.
Well, would you share it with me, Uncle?
I don't mind if I do.
Here.
Cheese is kind of stale.
It's all we had in the house.
Well, it's better than nothing.
Uncle, I've been meaning to ask you something.
As long as you don't ask for money.
That's just it.
Afraid it might be. Well, I don't want to hear about your troubles. I've got enough of my own.
You've got lots of money, Uncle.
Who told you that? Who told you?
Well, you did. You tell me every time I come here how much you've got.
Not exactly. Not exactly how much.
No, but you said it's a lot.
A lot. A great deal. More than you've ever dreamed of. And it'll all be yours, Hans, my boy. I'm making you my heir.
Making? Well, you said it was already in your will.
Will? Said maybe I'd leave it all to you, or maybe...
You didn't say maybe. You said you were going to give it all to me. I was your only heir.
Well, there's still my nephew Jamie to be considered, son of my favorite sister.
You said you didn't like him.
Never said that.
You did. You said you didn't like him because he'd become an actor.
Nothing to do with it. Acting is an honorable profession. At least he has a job. More than I can say for other members of this family.
Now, look, I've got a job.
Shoe repair. Part-time. Can't make a decent living. Come over here, get a few dollars, sponging on your relatives.
Well, you've never given me a cent I didn't earn, not a red cent.
It isn't because you ain't asked.
I've asked you because I needed it, Uncle Anatole. Look, Vicky and I, we've got so little. It isn't easy to beg.
I don't want to hear any more of this jabbering. Now that you're finished with your supper, down to the cellar with you, and start bringing up that copper scrap. Get moving. Don't you look at me that way. I know what's on your mind. I can read you like a book. But think of this, Hans, my boy. Before you go too far, you don't know where the money's hid. This is what protects me from your evil intentions. You'd get nothing because you'd never find the money. Never.
Yeah, Vicky. Sorry I woke you.
Oh, well, I couldn't sleep anyway. I was worried about you. What time is it?
Nearly 2 in the morning. I'm soaked. Still raining.
Oh, but take off your wet things, dear.
Yeah.
Uncle Anatole kept you late tonight.
Worked me late, you mean?
He's taking advantage of you, Hans.
I know it. He knows it.
Paying you so little and holding that inheritance in front of your nose like a carrot in front of a donkey so you'll go on working.
That's what I'm turning into, a donkey, a beast of burden.
Suppose he decides to give it to somebody else when he dies.
He can't.
What do you mean? He can give it to anyone he wants to. To your cousin Jamie? To anyone, to charity?
He wouldn't give it to charity. He doesn't know the meaning of the word. As for cousin Jamie, I know something he doesn't know. Jamie is dead.
Dead?
Yes.
When? How?
About 6 months ago, he was killed in an automobile accident in San Francisco. I wrote and got all the details. Car caught fire after crashing. He was identified from papers in his wallet.
And you're bound to get the money.
When?
Well, when he...
Dies?
Couldn't you persuade him to give you some of the money now?
I suggested that tonight. He flew into a rage, accused me of planning his death.
Oh, he didn't mean that.
He meant it. He as much as said the only thing that was keeping me from killing him was the fact that I didn't know where the money was hidden.
Oh, that's ridiculous. It's almost comical.
That's the way I felt about it when he said it. I was hurt that he would even joke about anything so horrible.
Oh, Hans, knowing you the way I do, knowing the kind of man you are, how kind you are, how gentle. The whole thing's utterly impossible.
Is it?
Hans.
You know, coming back on the bus, I thought of what he'd said. You know, I thought of you trying to make a home for us out of the few dollars I earn. I was wet and tired and angry inside. I kept thinking he has so much and he locks it away, not even spending anything for his own comfort, keeping it from us who need it.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that in my mind, a small red dot began to form. It grew and grew, and then it turned into a word that I could read.
Hans!
That word was kill. Hello? May I speak to Mr. Crandall, please? Aunt Chevenic calling. Miss Crandall? Yeah, I got your letter. I know I'm 10 days late with the payment. Yes, sir, I know that what the contract reads, but... Oh, no, sir, I wouldn't want that to happen. But you see... Well, I'm expecting a sum of money. Money owed to me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thursday at 4 p.m. sharp. I'll be there, Mr. Crandall. You can depend on it.
You'd like to see me dead and in my grave so you could have my money.
No. I never said that, Uncle Anatole.
I can read your thoughts, Hans, and they are filled with hate for me.
I am your heir. It doesn't matter if you like me. I'm your only heir. I'll get your money.
Jamie would get it.
He's dead. Killed in an auto accident.
You're lying. Lying to deceive me. But you'll never get the money.
Oh, you miser. You've taken advantage of me. You've worked me hard. You've paid me so little it hardly mattered. Now I'm going to get what you owe me.
Put down that gun. Put it down.
You're going to give me the money now. Now, or I'll kill you.
You won't find the money.
It's my money. It's my money. You promised it to me. I earned it. What? Vicky, is that you? What are you doing at Uncle Anatole's house?
Hans, you're at home.
What?
You've been having a bad dream.
A dream? Oh, thank the Lord. I'm so glad it was just a dream.
You were talking about Uncle Anatole.
Oh, heaven help me. I dreamt that I was going to kill him.
Oh, my poor Hans. What a terrible dream. You could never do such a thing.
No, darling, I could never do any such thing.
Hans!
Yes, Uncle Anatole?
Not finished yet?
No.
How long do you have to stall when I'm not watching
Look,
you?
I wasn't stalling.
Well, leave that iron scrap and come upstairs out the cellar. I got something for you to do here.
Uncle Anatole, I wonder if you'd mind if I left a little earlier tonight. You can take it off the money the money I've got coming to me.
I don't mind. I don't mind if you never come back for that matter. Work too much for you?
No, please. Look, Vicky is sick. She was running a fever when I left.
Sure. Here, take your money and get out. And don't bother to come back.
What? Oh, please, Uncle Anatole. It's only because I'm worried about Vicky.
Sure. Pick up your stuff and get out.
You don't believe me. Look, Uncle, I need the work. I'll come early tomorrow.
There ain't going to be no tomorrow for you, Hans. I don't want to see your face again.
But, Uncle...
Out, you understand?
Okay, I'll go. For years you've held the inheritance money over my head to make a slave of me. But now I realize the truth. There is no money. There never was. You've lied to me to get me to work for you.
No money, eh? No money, you say? Well, now that I know your true feelings about me, I'm going to show you the money.
What?
I'm going to show you what you've lost with your suspicions, your nasty, evil suspicions. Follow me. You're not more than 10 feet away from your inheritance.
What?
That you will never get. Here, give me a hand with this big chest. Push it.
Uncle...
Just shut up and give me a hand with this heavy old chest. Come on.
I'm sorry that I
keep your mouth closed and help me push. Come on.
All right.
Push. That's enough. Now, scrape that dirt where the chest was standing.
What?
Go ahead.
Wow. There's a trapdoor here.
Yes, a trapdoor. Here's the key. Take it. Now open the trapdoor. Now, hold up this lamp.
Oh.
What do you see in that box?
Gold coins. All gold.
That's right, my boy. All gold coins. A fortune. You didn't believe me, eh? Now you will never touch it. Never have even one small bit of it.
What good is it to you? What can you do with it?
Now that you've seen it, I'll enjoy it more. Help me push this chest back. Come on, I can't do it alone.
No, I won't help you.
No.
Not until you give me what's coming to me.
Don't make me lose my temper.
Do it yourself, you old miser.
So, I'll make you work, you stupid oaf.
Put down that cane.
Your last chance. Do what I ask.
I swear, if you strike me, I'll kill you.
Threaten me, will you? I'll show you.
Stop.
Threaten me? You haven't got the nerve to do anything with your life. Get out of my house, you weakling. You coward.
I've had enough from you. I'll kill you. Uncle. Speak to me. No. You're not dead. You're not dead.
And so the timid rabbit discovers he has fangs and claws. In that moment of decisive action, there was one thing that did not occur to Hans Chevenic. How could he explain what he had done to his wife, who believed in him and trusted him? How could he tell her that he had killed? Well, of course, his conscience troubled him, but deep in his heart was a feeling that he had grown. a secret feeling of elation. I'll be back shortly with Act 2. When Hans Chevenic returned home that night, he slipped into the house as silently as he could. He knew he couldn't face Vicky with the mark of Cain on his forehead. The next morning, he left before she awakened for the same reason. When he returned home from work that evening, he thought he had himself sufficiently under control to look her in the eye.
Anne, that you?
Yes, Vicky.
Well, come into the kitchen. I've got something on the stove.
Oh, sure smells good.
Well, I made a little stew for you. It's ready any time you are. Sit down.
Sure. Anytime.
Tastes good on a cold, blustery day like this.
Vicky, you're putting it all on my plate again.
I've eaten already.
No, you did the same thing yesterday. Said you'd eaten when you hadn't.
Well, you work hard, dear. You need more than I do.
Nonsense. Now, sit right down. We're going to share this. Now, start eating.
Oh, Hans. Please forgive me. I don't want to cry.
I know, dear. Things have been very tough for the last year or so. But I tell you, they're going to get better. Look, I've had a bit of good luck. Look at this.
What is it?
What is it? It's a $20 gold piece.
Oh, I've never seen one before.
The government stopped minting them years ago. They're collector's items now.
This little bit of gold worth $20?
Worth a lot more than that. I'm giving it to you. A present.
A present? Well, what could I do with it?
Keep it. Or sell it. It'll bring quite a bit. Well over $200, I think.
Hans, where did you get it?
I found it. I was on the bus this morning, and I looked down, and there was this little gold glint right under my feet.
Did you report that you found it?
No. No, I'll go around to the bus company lost and found tomorrow and report it. Hey, I almost forgot. I really have some big news for you. I've been offered a new job. A good one.
Really? Who offered it?
Well, you remember I told you about that Mr. Congrave who came into the shop to have some shoes repaired?
Congrave?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember you mentioning him before.
Well, sure I did. He got to talking with me, and he sort of liked me and said if ever I wanted to change my job, to look him up.
I can't recall you ever saying anything about it.
Well, sure I did. Look, you just don't listen. So, anyway, he walks this morning and says he's been thinking about me for a long time and that a good job has just opened up with his company in Arswell. I'd be a foreman in charge of about 25 men.
Hans, this whole thing is sort of I don't know, it's come so fast.
Now, listen to me, Vicky. We've had so much bad luck that you're afraid to believe the good luck. This Mr. Congrave liked me, and he's offered me a chance.
But he doesn't even know you. Just talked to you that once.
He had a hunch about me. Honey, look, let's not turn this one good thing that's happened to us into a question and answer game. Now, there's only one thing about the job you might not like. I'm going to be away from you for a couple of months until the job is set. You understand?
Well, if that's the way it is, that's the way it has to be.
Oh, come on. Let me see a smile on your pretty face.
Mm-hmm.
That's better. Things are going to be all right from now on. Trust me. Yes, can I help you?
Oh, are you Mr. Chevenic? Anatole Chevenic?
No, I'm his nephew, Hans.
Well, this is Anatole Chevenic's house, isn't it?
That's right.
He in? I have a registered letter for him. Has to be signed.
No, he's not in. In fact, he's left. He's left the country.
Oh. You know, I've been delivering mail to him for 3 years now, and I never saw him once. Talked to him through the door one time. It told me to push the mail under the door, but never opened it.
Yes, he had some peculiar habits.
Well, in my job, you get to see a lot of strange... You said had?
What?
You said had, as though he was dead.
What, did I?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean it that way. He's gone off to South Africa, Johannesburg. Spent most of his early life there, you know. He felt he was sort of, well, going home, so to speak.
Yeah, the letter.
Letter?
Yeah, registered. Reason I came. Got to be signed for.
Well,
guess you could do it.
Well, I don't like signing his name.
Oh, just sign your own. It'll be all right. Right here.
Okay.
Thanks.
Here.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Oh. Damn. I gotta watch myself. That was a bad slip. I wonder if he was suspicious. Hello?
Hello. May I speak with Anatole Chevenic, please?
Well, he's not here.
What do you mean he's not there?
He's gone. He's left the country.
Gone? He didn't say anything to me about leaving. I spoke to him just 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was all very sudden. He left probably after you talked to him.
Very strange. He said nothing about any plans to go away. Where did he go?
Africa. South Africa.
What? South Africa?
Yes. You see, he'd spent the better part of his early life there, Johannesburg.
I never heard that. Who are you?
I'm his nephew, Hans Chevenic.
Oh, Hans Chevenic.
Yes.
Well, I was really looking for you when I called here.
Well, looking for me? Who is this?
Surely you can't have forgotten so soon. I thought you would be in Oswald this morning, starting on your new job.
What? How did you know? Oh, you must have spoken with my wife. She expected me to be there. As a matter of fact, I would have been there if it hadn't been for the sudden departure.
Of Uncle Anatole?
Yes, it sort of changed my plans.
Strange the way you said that.
What?
Sudden departure.
Well, what's so strange about that? It's a common expression.
It is also used when speaking of someone dying. Suddenly.
Not at all. Not at all.
Sudden departure, sudden death. See what I mean?
Well, I never use it that way. I meant my uncle left the country. He went away.
Yes, of course. Well, to get back to the reason for my call. When may I expect you in Oswell?
What? Expect me in Oswell?
Or have you given up the entire plan?
Who are you?
Who am I?
Yes.
Surely you must be joking. I'm your new boss, George Congrave.
Hello? Who's there?
It's me, dear, Hans.
Oh, Hans! I wasn't expecting you when I heard the front door open.
It's all right, Vicky.
Hans, what happened?
What do you mean?
Well, you were supposed to be in Arsville, weren't you? When you left the house Wednesday morning, you said you were catching the bus to Arsville to take the new job.
Well,
But you didn't go.
No, I stopped off to tell Uncle Anatole that I wouldn't be back, that I was quitting my job with him.
Oh, that was very foolish. There wasn't another bus till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. How were you to get to Arsville in the new job?
Look, Vicky, I suppose it didn't make good sense to stop off without thinking how I was going to get to Arsville afterwards.
Well, I was so surprised when the next morning Mr. Congrave came to the door and wanted to know where you were.
Congrave came to the door? What did he look like?
Middle-aged, nicely dressed. Asked for you. I knew who he was immediately, and I got terribly worried about you.
Vicky, how did you know it was Mr. Congrave?
Oh, I knew, that's all. I just knew.
Did he tell you his name? Did he introduce himself first?
I don't know. How could I remember that? Suddenly I was calling him Mr. Congrave, that's all.
Vicky, listen to me. It's very important for me to know whether you called him Mr. Congrave or he told you that his name was Congrave.
I can't see that it makes any difference. It was Mr. Congrave, and he was asking for you.
Okay, all right. What do you want to know?
He wanted to speak to you. He seemed very concerned. Perhaps because you failed to show up for work.
Did you ask about Uncle Anatole?
Uncle Anatole?
Yes.
How would Mr. Congrave know him?
Well, evidently he does. He knows him very well. He called me there at Uncle Anatole's house.
I don't understand. Now, what does it all mean?
I don't know, Vicky. I wish I did.
Is that the house?
Yeah.
Well, it isn't in very good repair, is it?
Uncle Anatole never would spend a cent if he could help it. Here, up these stairs.
Hans, shouldn't we knock?
Well, there's nobody there. Uncle Anatole couldn't answer. He's gone away.
Oh, place is a mess, isn't it?
Pretty bad. Wait till I put the light on.
I'm glad I decided to come back here with you. I'll be able to get some semblance of order restored. Is Uncle Anatole selling this house?
I guess so. He said he wasn't coming back.
Then it makes sense to clean it up. Better chance of selling it. You wanted me to come here with you, didn't you, Hans?
Well, I didn't want to come alone, Vicky.
Now, just a broom and a bucket and water, and I'll start. Have any idea where he keeps the cleaning things?
No, dear. You'll just have to search around till you find them. I'm going down cellar for a while.
All right, Hans. Oh, Hans.
What is it, Vicky?
What have you done about Mr. Congreve?
What do you mean?
Well, what about the job? You were supposed to start 3 days ago. What will Mr. Congreve think?
I don't care what he thinks. Now, look, please stop asking questions, Vicky. All you do is question me.
But I don't understand what's going on, Hans.
Neither do I. But there's something in this house. Still here. And it belongs to me. And I'm going to get it. Huh?
Hans, wake up.
What?
Hans, someone's in the house. I can hear him.
In the house? You sure?
I heard him. Listen. There. Hear it?
Yeah, but this is an old house. Old houses creak at night.
It isn't just that. I heard something. Someone bumped into something in the dark.
Well, I don't believe there's anyone there, but I'll go take a look.
You have a flashlight?
No, I'll just switch on the lights downstairs.
Do you want me to come with you?
If you want to, come on. I'll feel along the wall for the light switch. Hold on to my arm. Here, I've got it.
I don't see anything out of the ordinary.
It's probably just your imagination. You know, those noises.
No, I heard something.
Well, no one's in the house as far as I can see. Come on, let's go back to bed.
All right, Hans.
The phone.
At this hour?
I'll get it. You stay here. Yes?
Hello? Anatole Chevenic?
He's not here.
Oh, he's there. He's there all right. But he isn't able to answer. Is that what you mean?
Look, please, what do you want?
I told you. I want to speak with Anatole Chevenic.
He can't speak with you. He's not here.
Is this Hans Chevenic?
Yes, this is Hans.
Hans, this is George Congreve.
No, there is no George Congreve. He's just a lie. A lie I told my wife. There is no George Congreve.
And so, in a lie told by Hans Chevenic, an imaginary man is conjured up to haunt him. To the tortured man, the unreal has more substance than the real. With the guilt of a murder on his conscience and his fear of the apparition that follows him relentlessly, can his mind stay in balance? I'll be back shortly with Act 3. After his frightening experience on the telephone with the man who calls himself George Congreve, Hans tried to compose himself and put up a brave front for Vicky. But he failed miserably. He felt an overwhelming urge to confess his crime, throw himself at her feet, and ask for the comfort of her forgiveness. But he was afraid that she would be so repelled by the horror of what he'd done that she would turn from him forever. He got out of bed and paced the floor.
Hans?
Huh? What, Vicky?
Don't you want to talk to me?
No.
Come here, Hans. Sit on the bed, please.
Oh, Vicky, what's the point of talking?
All that complicated story about the job in Arswell.
Lies.
And about Mr. Congreve.
Lies. There's no such person. It's just a name that came to me. I used it, that's all.
But I met him. Talked to him. You've talked to him on the telephone.
There's no such person. It's a lie, I tell you. He doesn't exist.
But he does. We both know he does.
Vicky, please stop insisting on that, or my mind is spinning. Vicky, please.
Oh, Hans. You've got something terrible on your conscience. First, there was that gold coin that you said you found on the bus. Now, you didn't find it, did you?
No, that was a lie, too.
Then I know it all now. It all fits together. I know what it is you've done.
Oh, my God.
You've stolen your uncle's money.
What? Oh, stolen. Stolen, if that were all. No, Vicky, it's worse. Much worse. I've committed a murder. I killed him. I killed him. Vicky? You still here?
Of course, darling.
I must have fallen asleep. But what are you doing here?
What?
Look, I told you everything. And you're still here. I thought you'd...
Run? Run away from you?
Vicky, I wanted to tell you sooner, but I was afraid I'd lose you.
You don't have much faith in me, do you? I love you. And I would fight for you and stay with you no matter what you'd done.
Even murder?
You haven't committed a murder.
Vicky,
You just think you have. It's all confused in your mind. You remember your dream? You dreamt you killed your uncle.
Yes, but
it was
Vicky...
just a dream. Remember, you woke up and said, "Thank God it wasn't true."
But, Vicky, it came true. That dream came true. I strangled him. Then I took his gold, and I put him in the hole and pushed the big chest back over the trap door.
Hans, you were dreaming.
No, I wish I were. No, I did it.
Listen to me. Now, try to control your thoughts. Now, just say to yourself, it never happened.
Oh, Vicky.
It never happened. You just imagined it or dreamt it.
It happened. I killed him. I pushed him into the trap in the cellar floor, and he's still there. He's still there.
Hans, did you move the chest away by yourself when Uncle Anatole said he would show you the money?
Oh, no, we both pushed. It was too heavy for me to do alone. Then I opened the trap with the key he gave me. And I saw the gold. I couldn't believe my eyes. And he laughed. He told me that was the last time I would ever see it, that he was cutting me out of his will. Then after all that, he commanded me to help him push the chest back over the trap.
And then you struck him?
No, he struck me with his cane because I refused. Look, here it is, this broken cane. He broke it on my back.
Oh, there's dried blood on it.
My blood. I begged him to stop it. He just kept hitting me as though he'd gone mad. Finally, I grabbed him. I thought to stop him. I didn't even realize what I was doing. I hated him. I loathed him. And I was strangling him. When I let go of him, he was dead.
And then you took the money?
Yeah, I hid it in another place. I'd better use for the trap. It was to be Uncle Anatole's grave. I pushed him in. I closed the trap door and pushed the big chest back over it.
Hans, there's only one way to find out.
You mean move the chest and look into the hole? No.
It's the only way.
No, I couldn't look at his face again.
If he's not there, it means you never killed him.
No, if he's not there, it means he's still alive, and that's more frightening than his being dead.
Oh, it's not moving, not an inch.
No, it won't budge. It's helpless. We can't move it. Look, maybe I can use this big iron pipe. If I can get it under the edge of the chest and lift it, using it for a lever.
Try.
Here, give me a hand. Grab the other end of the pipe while I shove it under the edge. There. Now, let me get the other end and lift.
We moved several inches.
Here. Again.
Only a few inches more, Hans.
There.
Oh, it's off the trap door. Hans, the key. Have you got the key?
It's not locked. I never locked it.
Open it. Hans!
He's gone. Anatole is gone.
Hans, we can't stay here in this house any longer.
What can we do? Where can we go?
We can go to the police.
No, not the police.
You did kill Anatole, and I still doubt that. You did it in self-defense.
No, it was premeditated murder. It was on my mind for months.
Hans, darling, don't condemn yourself.
I killed him for his gold.
Why don't you go to the police and tell them how he was beating you with his cane?
I'll be convicted. Life imprisonment. Oh, Vicky.
Hans, look.
What? Where?
Those muddy footprints across the floor. They're still wet.
They are.
Someone's been here while we were down in the cellar.
Maybe he's still here. Vicky, work your way toward the back door.
Yes. You too.
Open up!
What?
Open up! I know you're in there, sniveling mouse. Open up or I'll beat you in an inch of your meat.
It's him. It's Uncle Anatole.
I told you he wasn't dead.
He's dead. He's dead. He's returned from the dead. Get out, Vicky. Run, please.
I'll get help. I'll get help.
Get out of here.
Well, how long are you going to bar me from my own house?
Let me speak to him, Chevenic. Perhaps I can make him listen to reason.
Listen to reason? My stout cane will make him listen. Oh, but that's in the cellar where he buried me in the trap.
Oh, good.
You stay here, Anatole. I'll go around to the side and break away and get in.
Good idea, Congreve. Break this one.
No, stay out.
Well, my dear Hans, at last we meet face to face. Why do you keep your head down? Afraid of me?
No. Go away, please.
Shall I open the door and let your uncle in?
No, please.
Come. That's not very hospitable of you, considering it is his own house.
Please don't let him in.
He is in, Hans. In the hole you put him in after you killed him. You did kill him, Hans, and stole all his money. That's true, isn't it?
Yes, I confess it's all true.
Look up. Look at me. There, that's better.
What? Jamie. Jamie, no, but you're dead. You were killed in an accident.
False identification, cousin. No, I'm very much alive. And Cousin Jamie has come to collect his inheritance.
What?
Now, where did you hide it?
Inheritance? Uncle Anatole's out there. I heard him.
You seem to have forgotten my very special theatrical talents. I did the voice of Uncle Anatole. Listen.
Stalling! Never an honest day's work.
I was also your new employer, George Congreve.
It was you, yes. Vicky mentioned that name to you. Told you everything. That's how you knew.
And now I want my money. I knew Uncle had the gold hidden someplace. I came here to find it. But I found that you had been here ahead of me. I could see where the chest had been moved in the cellar, and that's where I found our dear dead Uncle Anatole. In the trap. Now, I know you have the gold, and I want it right now.
It's mine. It was to be mine, he said.
Do you want me to produce the body of Uncle Anatole? I can, you know. And you'd go up for life.
But...
No buts. Give me the money, and I'll keep my mouth shut. I had no love for the old skinflint either. I just want my inheritance.
Nothing I can do?
Nothing. Just take me to the gold.
All right, come with me. I've got it hidden in the cellar. See those old iron pipes piled over there?
In there?
Yeah. I stuffed old waste paper, some rags, some scrap iron in the end of the pipe to conceal the gold.
I've got to hand it to you. I searched this house from one end to the other night. I knew the gold was here. It was too heavy for you to carry away with you. But I never thought of the pipe. Well, now, let's see.
Turn around, Jamie.
What? Hans, put down that iron bar, Hans.
Gold is mine. He promised it all to me.
Look, I'll split it with you, half for you.
No. It's all mine. All mine now.
Nice day. I'm glad you could come.
Oh, I never miss the second Thursday in each month, Doctor.
I think he looks forward to it.
Do you think he really knows?
Well, sometimes I feel there is a glimmer, a slight glimmer. There he is. You got him working with the gardener. He seems to like flowers.
Hans?
I don't think he knows his name. Let him see you.
Hans? I brought you something. A present. Something sweet.
Oh, thank you. You are a nice lady. Here's a flower for you. Yellow. Like a piece of gold.
Hans Chevenic had been walking on the narrow line between sanity and insanity, and had finally fallen into the abyss. He remembers only one thing, stronger than anything else, stronger than memory, stronger than life, the glint of gold. I'll be back in a moment. And there we have it, a tale of greed, which destroyed the lives of 4 people. Anatole Chevenic returned to haunt the waking and sleeping of his nephew Hans, and the gold which he hoarded for so many years brought happiness to no one. Our cast included Alexander Scourby, Anne Pitoniak, Gil Mack, and Sid Slon. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown.
Now, a preview of our next tale.
And what is the whole contract?
That while a person owns this dark imp in the bottle, any request that concerns money, gold, or wealth, no matter how unreasonable, will be satisfied. And that to dispose of this creature and its spell, you must sell it for less than your original price.
Oh, here. $7.40.
$5 is enough.
Okay. Cheap at nearly half the price.
Oh, think first, Barry, think. Remember, it will keep you rich as long as you live. But remember, too, if you do not sell it for less than you paid for it before you die, your soul will surely rot in hell for eternity.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser, and Buick Motor Division. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. E.G. Marshall. Jasper Sheridan is dying. Even the most ignorant of laymen could determine that fact. The wax-like face, the emaciated body, the rasping breath that precedes the last death rattle. In the huge baronial bedroom, he faces his only living relative, Barry Holden, a great-grandnephew. A fortunate young man who is the only heir to one of the richest, if not the richest men in the world. Fortunate? Listen.
Barry, are we alone?
Yes, Uncle.
Open the drawer in my bed table. You see a small bottle in it?
Yes, sir. You mean the one with the ugly little black bug in it?
If you will buy that from me for less than $10, you can be the richest man in the world.
Oh, Uncle, you know me. I'm always broke. I can raise, $7.43. Will that be enough?
More than enough. Will you buy it from me?
If you want me to, of course.
Our mystery drama, The Imp in the Bottle, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars William Redfield. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser, and Buick Motor Division. I'll be back shortly with Act One. When a man is over 90 and you are 24, with your life just beginning, why not humor a dying man's request? But you didn't expect a minor gesture could cause that piercing, shattering, evil scream that shriveled your tolerance to a shivering fear.
What in God's name was that?
Nothing in God's name. It came from that damnable black imp immured in the prison. He thought he might escape at last.
From this thing in the bottle? That's crazy. It's no bigger than a large fly.
As long as he stays in the bottle. Oh, Barry, I have no right. If I were not so afraid...
Look, wait, let me go and get Dr. Haney.
No, this is just between us, and I have very little time, so let me speak.
Uncle, please.
Don't interrupt. You had every expectation to be my only heir, and you are so indicated in my will. But do you know what my estate will be if I should pass on still owning that black minion of the Antichrist? Nil, nothing, zero.
Look, Uncle, I don't think this is the right time to worry about estates.
This is exactly the right time. First, if I die still in possession of that imp of darkness, everything I have, and the house, the corporation, the wealth, even I, myself, become his possession. Oh, poor Barry, you think you are listening to an old man's ravings.
Okay, so we're back to that dirty black spider or whatever it is in the bottle. I'll buy him. That's simple. Now, does that solve it?
Not by a long shot. First, you have to know the terms.
Okay, brief me.
When I was your age, I was in Venice, and I bought that bottle with the black thing in it for not much more than $10. I was always a sucker for legends of any kind. The lure of the bottle imp was it legend. If you could find the right person, whoever you were, you would command anything in the world you desired, gold or money, at the snap of your fingers.
That's what that dirty little thing there is?
Oh, I laughed at the notion of its power, except that it does possess it. And once you know that, the whole contract gains its own belief.
And what is the whole contract?
That while a person owns this dark imp in the bottle, any request that concerns money, gold, or wealth, no matter how unreasonable, will be satisfied. And that to dispose of this creature and its spell, you must sell it for less than your original price.
Oh, here. $7.40.
$5 is enough.
Okay. Cheap at nearly half the price.
Oh, think first, Barry, think. Remember, it will keep you rich as long as you live. But remember, too, if you do not sell it for less than you paid for it before you die. Your soul will surely rot in hell for eternity.
Cheer up, Uncle. You've made your sale. Your imp in the bottle is my problem from now on. I'd no sooner made that statement than I felt a burning sensation in my pocket. It was sheer reflex action to reach in and pull out the bottle containing the evil black bug. I glanced at my uncle. He had sunk back against the silk pillow cover, his face the corpse white of the dead, but its expression one of peace and relief. You'd better go in, Dr. Haney. I'm afraid he's gone.
Yeah, very well, Barry. It was inevitable, you know.
Oh, I know, but I'm going to miss him a lot.
That makes two of us. I'll let you know in just a minute.
Thank you.
I hope I'm not premature, but I'm sorry.
Thanks, Mr. Barnes.
You're going to miss the old man in a lot more ways than one, son.
What does that mean?
You know, I haven't been able to talk any real business with him almost the whole past week, and...
Well, what's the scoop, Mr. Lawyer?
Disaster. The whole empire's going to topple.
Sheridan Enterprises?
Jasper is mortgaged up to the eye teeth, overextended. He's so deep in debt that if things went under, he couldn't even pay his creditors a penny on the dollar.
You're trying to tell me that Jasper is broke?
Unless he's got piles of money stashed away in Switzerland, Lebanon, the Bahamas, or some secret corner of the world. The only thing he'll leave you is debts. The pity of it is, if he were alive, he'd find a way out of all this mess. He's done it time and again. The man was a financial genius.
He's gone, all right. Poor old Jasper. But he looks at peace. He certainly looked like he left you well provided for, Barry, if that's any consolation.
Well provided for, perhaps. A consolation? That remains to be seen. Lawyer Barnes insisted that I dine with him that night to discuss business he said, and for a rather special reason, might lighten the dismal occasion. I accepted, for reasons of my own, which were blown right out of my head the moment I met his special reason.
Ah, there you are, Barry. Just in time for a mint julep in honor of my guest.
Oh?
I'd like you to meet the daughter of an old friend of mine from the Deep South, Miss Felicia Alice Breedenhall.
Oh, my pleasure, Miss Breedenhall.
Let me begin with my whole usual little speech.
Oh, is it a stem winder or just short and sweet?
Now you're putting me on. All I wanted to say was that no one my size should be saddled with a name as long as Felicia Alice Breedenhall. And since the diminutive for both my first names happens to be Alicia, can we settle for that?
By all means. My name happens to be, for example, Barry Norton Stewart Farrington Creecreft Ain, with a hyphen between the last two. But you may call me just plain Barry, Alicia.
I'm really sorry. We shouldn't be joking under the circumstances.
Oh, it's all right. Jasper would have gotten a kick out of you. He lived his life and didn't miss a thing. How many years, Mr. Barnes?
Pretty close to 97.
Yeah, and he'd had it, too. He wanted to go. No, don't worry, Alicia. He picked the right moment.
Here's your julep. Good stiff one. I imagine you can use it, Barry, after a little talk before noon. You and I are going to have to get together tonight, you know.
You know it. That's just what the man ordered.
Oh, I didn't think you'd be so eager for our talk.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about our talk. I was talking about the drink and the lady who comes along with it. Alicia, even after just one long, cool swallow, I apologize about the name nonsense. My name is plain old Barry Norton, NMI, as we used to say in the armed services.
NMI?
No middle initial.
Barry's good enough for me anyway.
You going to be staying up north long?
Oh, that depends.
Oh, that's the dinner bell. If we keep Mrs. Grimes waiting one moment, I might lose her. And I have no intention of doing so.
Yeah?
You seem so preoccupied ever since we left after dinner.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alicia. I am. Got a lot on my mind. How long is your stay up here going to be?
A long, long time, I hope.
Now that's just the same thought I had in mind for you.
But it may not be too long if I don't get a job before my money runs out.
You mean that's the only problem?
Oh, you can joke. You don't know what it is to be poor.
Oh, you want to bet? You know what my entire capital is as of this moment? $2.43.
Plus 2 trillion and 43 billion little old greenbacks your great uncle left you.
Supposing I was to tell you Jasper left nothing. Not a cent. Just a collection of monumental debts.
I wouldn't believe you for a moment.
Well, let me put this whole proposition on another basis. Supposing I didn't have a dime. Would you marry me tomorrow, this minute, if I really didn't have a dime? And no particular prospects, and I asked you.
You haven't even found out if I even like you.
No. This is no holds barred time, Leisha. I think you do at least like me. Enough to think about marrying me?
They warned me life went a little faster up north. Okay, I'll fade you, Mr. Gambling Man. I do like you. But I've had too many years growing up just one middy jump above poor white, so the answer to your question is if you didn't have a dime and no particular prospects, I'd pick up my bell-bottoms and run like hell in case you lassoed me with black magic charm.
All right. Give me 24 hours to find out where I stand. Then I'll know just where we stand.
Hello?
Mr. Barnes, I won't be back tonight.
But you promised. I have to go over this whole business situation with you, and just because of Leisha,
No, I know. I won't say this has nothing to do with Leisha, but by later tonight I may be able to give you some better news and relieve your mind about financial affairs. I'm holding what gamblers call an ace in the hole. Now keep your lawyer's fingers crossed that it pays off. What I was holding in my hand was the imp in the bottle. And with my own fingers crossed, I took it back to Uncle Jasper's house. With shaking fingers, I twisted the cap of the little bottle. And suddenly it came off with an explosive whoosh that rocked me on my heels and turned my blood to rainwater. Out of the narrow opening, a great foaming black cloud burst like an atomic bomb. The room reeked of fire and brimstone, and the whole house rocked and shook and seemed to disintegrate.
There are things seemingly beyond our ken that brush against us every day. Eventually, there is an explanation, simple or complicated. An explanation that suits the limit of our world. But is there another explanation that suits another world? Something so dark and mysterious and mind-boggling that we refuse to accept it? I'll be back shortly with Act 2. Here is a young man in this day and age who, instead of inheriting a fabulous fortune, finds himself humoring his dying relative by buying from him a small medical file containing an unidentified black form, supposedly capable of producing unlimited wealth. Is something like this possible in the 20th century? We're about to find out.
Choking through the black fumes as a swirling wind began to dissipate them, the room seemed to have disappeared entirely. I was mainly conscious of the colossal legs, the muscles braced under the thick bristling hair, and as my eye traveled upwards, the monstrous hirsute body, leathern-skinned and humpbacked. The head was small and ridiculous for the gargantuan body, and the voice matched it.
Yes, master. What is your desire?
Are you the black thing that was imprisoned in that bottle there?
I am the bottled imp, doomed by Lucifer to be confined until I bring him a soul.
What, you mean I can actually request anything of you and you will satisfy it?
As long as it is gold, or what money will buy. All you have to do is ask, and it is yours. You see, my only way to freedom is to trap your soul, or some other. I have no choice. You are the only one who has any free choice.
What choice?
Sell me for less than you paid for me, and you go free.
And whatever money you've given me, or helped me to gain?
You cannot have it both ways, master. That disappears with me.
And must I free you from the bottle every time I have a request?
No. I have no right to freedom of any kind, and until I deliver a soul.
Well then, get back in the bottle. The great black presence was sucked inexorably like a pile of dust back into the bottle. And in the blink of an eye, I was back in my own room. And trapped in the bottle was the dark, shapeless mass of the devil's apprentice. The die was cast as far as I was concerned. Of course, I knew I should see my local psychiatrist, but just in case black magic hasn't gone clear out of style. Abracadabra, right on the bed, $250,000 in hundreds and fifties like pow! $250,000? As though I had asked for another hot dog. Oh, man, I don't know what I'm getting into. But it sure solves a lot of problems.
Strange. I thought he had everything filed with me. When I saw how serious the situation was, I tried to talk the situation over with Jasper, but he refused to discuss the whole subject. I can't understand
why. Well, perhaps he was waiting for a messenger.
What messenger?
The one that gave me the envelope.
I can't understand why this didn't come to me. After all, I am his lawyer.
And I'm his heir.
That's true, of course.
And I was in the house. Well, what's the difference anyway? This solves all our problems, doesn't it? Financially, I mean.
Oh, absolutely. Huge deposits in top banks all over the world. More than enough capital to put the conglomerate in the best shape of its life. My congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Barnes. But it's still only money.
Which you are very careless about, if you will forgive an old man for putting in his oar.
Oh, Barnes, I'm not only happy to have you put in your oar, but you're going to be running the whole ship from now on.
Why aren't you going to be taking over the business?
Oh, no. Not me.
Then what are you going to do?
I'm going to get married. If the lady will have me.
But then you'll have to have a job.
No. I have no head for figures, except the right kind. Which reminds me, may I call the lady?
If you think she won't object to... Oh, heavens, it's almost 1.
Well, she may start off mad, but I have a feeling she'll end up forgiving me.
Do I know this young lady?
Well, you ought to. You introduced me to her tonight.
Leisha? Mary, how can you talk about marrying a girl you don't even know?
Hello?
Leisha?
Who is this? You know, I was sound asleep.
It's Barry.
Barry? What are you doing calling me? You know it's nearly 1 o'clock in the morning?
Well, I just wanted to tell you that I'm all through with dull old business, and the whole world is now our oyster, and even if you won't marry me tonight, how about that date we almost missed?
At 10 minutes to 1 a.m.?
Well, that's when the big city really comes alive. Look, I'll pick you up in 45 minutes. It'll be a night to remember.
At the moment, it's a night I want to forget.
Well, you'll never really be able to tell that, will you, unless you give it a try? Huh, Leisha?
You nut, Barry. You absolute nut. Make it 50 minutes. It'll give me time to put some perfume behind my ears.
Bye.
When I invited you to dinner earlier this evening, Barry, it had nothing to do with Leisha. She turned up unexpectedly. As a matter of fact, had I been playing marriage broker, you would have been the last person in some ways that
Barnes, relax. The greatest thing you ever did for me in your life was to introduce me to Leisha. Take you back home?
That's good, solid New Orleans blues, man.
Mm-hmm. And the martini?
It won't knock me out. But I don't know about another round.
Oh, what's your stand on walking?
Great. As long as I can stand. And I can stand. Don't worry.
Good. Up Fifth Avenue to the Plaza Hotel. Got a penny?
No, sir. My mad money comes in slightly higher denomination.
Oh, you didn't think I'd run out on you?
It hasn't happened yet. I just protect myself at all times.
Okay, here's a penny. And I have one, too. So we turn our backs on the fountain, throw them in, and wish the best wish we know.
Oh, that's the Trevi Fountain in Rome. You do that.
All right. So we're starting a new trend. Arrivederci, Roma. What was your wish?
If I tell you, it won't come true. Where next? The night is still young.
The Small Hours Club?
What's its particular kick?
Oh, just the best food in town. Nice, slow, quiet dancing, and a wide-open casino from craps to shemank.
Just stop at the dice. They're Mama's children. You stake me 100, I'll run it right through their limit.
Oh, baby, I seem to have just pushed the important button that turns you on. Come on, let's see you roll them.
The point is 8. 8 is the point. The lady is riding 15,000 a cover. I have 3 from you, sir, 2 from the gentleman next to him. Are there no more takers? Oh, yes, sir, fading 5,000. Thank you, sir. That leaves 5,000 open. And if there is no one else to cover, yes, I have a taker. You cover the open 5. You are faded, madam. Your dice, the point is 8.
Oh, come on, baby. We can't run in any more bad luck. This is our time. Come through for Mama, and away you go.
7. You lose.
Oh, well, it was my own fault. The whole thing was my own fault from the beginning. See, my whole trouble is that I really don't give a damn about money. I mean, if I've got it, great. But if I don't, I'll get by. So the trouble is, I never recognized the fever in others. I certainly didn't in Leisha anyway. The 15,000 was play money to me, the way I was fixed with my own personal little devil in the bottle. But I should have spotted Leisha as a lady who was hooked on gambling and the money that went with it. Here we were just beginning, and I didn't know it, but we were already on the way to the end.
You are crazy, you know.
But you, yes.
I'm not talking about that. You let me gamble away $15,000 and then take me on a 5-cent ferry ride.
Well, the last of the big spenders, they call me. Oh, baby, just look at that sun coming up over the skyline. Isn't that worth 15 lousy grand? I'm going to take off my tie and open up my shirt and enjoy the sun on my manly chest.
You could have gotten the sun just for a nickel.
But I might not have been able to persuade you to make the trip.
I swear to Jonah, you are something else. What's that chain you have around your neck?
Oh, it's kind of a lucky charm.
May I see?
Sure. Here.
What? It's just a little old bottle like you get a prescription in.
Mm-hmm.
What's that black thing? Oh, Barry, I am sorry. I thought it was a spider, and I'm just scared to death of them. And before I knew it,
You chucked it overboard.
It was an accident. I didn't...
Never mind. It's gone forever now.
Does it mean all that to you, Barry?
Well, we're getting near the landing. Let me ask you a question right out here in the morning sunshine in front of God and everyone. Are you going to marry me?
It's like everything else tonight. Crazy. But, Barry, I just guess I'm going to have to. I mean... Barry.
What is it?
The bottle. The chain. And that thing. It's right back around your neck again. How did you do that?
I didn't. I guess there is only one way to get rid of this.
There's something funny going on. Barry, you kind of scare me. Now, I don't know...
Wait a minute. As soon as we land, come back up to the house with me.
Oh, no, sir. I've already spent the night with you. That's as far as we go this time round.
Oh, Alicia, it's not your lily white body I'm after. Not tonight, anyway. It's just a secret I want to share with you. A secret I guess I've got to share with you before we do get married.
Will you stop pulling my leg and take me home before I fall asleep?
No, I want to prove this to you, Alicia. All right. All right, you little bottle imp. In $1,000 bills, give back Miss Breedenhall the money she lost tonight. There. Look in your bag, Alicia.
Barry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 14, 15. Are these genuine?
They are.
It's a trick.
Not mine. His. As much as I want, anytime, anywhere. Just as I told you.
No, I just can't believe it.
Oh, well, I know a way to really prove it to you, Miss Dice Sharper. Now, here's a pair of dice, okay? Roll them as long as you want till you're sure there's nothing kinky about them. Then tell me what number you want to throw and how many times. And the bottle imp will see that it happens.
Okay. You can't fool me on this. I know dice, and I know odds. Once I'm satisfied these dice are clean, I'm picking snake eyes. You bring me those up 10 times in succession, and I'll believe anything you tell me.
Why be pikers? Let's make it 20.
Double ace. 20 times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all true.
That's right. Now do you marry me?
I wouldn't want you to think I was marrying you for your money.
Let me take the chance on that.
Beware, Barry. Games of chance are not your forte. And you don't know the odds. You're a good-hearted, happy-go-lucky guy who's gotten himself mixed up in something evil. A lot more than he can handle. And perhaps not all the evil is shut up inside the bottle. I'll return shortly with Act 3. Jasper Sheridan's funeral was sumptuous and dignified. In as brief a period as seemed decent, Alicia and Barry were married and started on a worldwide honeymoon that lasted well over 2 years. If Barry regretted the fact that all of the places had gambling casinos, he was too much in love with his stunning bride to object. Then, at last, they were on their way back to America, by boat, on Alicia's insistence.
Well, I see you broke the bank again for the second night out.
Well, I'm not always so lucky, Mr. Stavrasis.
Oh, you know my name. I was going to introduce myself. I'm flattered, Mrs. Norton.
Of course you're not. No more than I am, but you know mine.
We are birds of a feather, eh, you and I?
We have more money than we know what to do with. We gamble. We are both members of the international set. The only difference is you own ships, and I own a rich husband.
There is another difference.
Oh?
At least one. You are a woman. I am a man. I am surprised your husband doesn't make sure to keep you close to him. Particularly on shipboard moonlight nights.
Oh, Barry doesn't sail well. He usually sticks to his cabin unless it's clear as glass.
Then I shall hope for a rough crossing.
Am I to consider that a pass?
But most definitely.
I am a married woman, Mr. Stavrasis.
Marriage is a state of mind, Mrs. Norton. It is no longer the prison it once was. May I hope to see you in New York? Perhaps you would come to dinner at my house.
With my husband.
Or without. That can all be arranged later. Here. Here is my unlisted number, if you should ever need me.
And of course, I am of your service for the rest of the voyage.
You must be crazy, Barry.
I remember when you used to say that a little more fondly.
Your being crazy made some sense then.
Oh, and now it makes none?
To go out and take some 9-to-5 job in a dirty little store as a numbus, whatever it is.
Numismatist, a collector or seller of old and rare coins. Funny, isn't it? It's the only real interest I've ever had in money.
Well, you won't make much of it there.
Oh, I don't know. With the deal Charlie's offered me, I could do quite well. From $20,000 to $30,000 a year. It's quite a hot business these days.
You must be mad. Go work at the conglomerate if you have to work. You can pay yourself $500,000 a year. Anyway, what's money to us?
That's our problem, Leisha. Everything at the moment. I'm just waking up to how gambling has you hooked. And how you have me hooked into being a sort of gigolo. And the source of the hook is this damn thing. So the way to get off the hook is simple. I'm going to sell him.
Sell the bottle imp? But that means that everything would be gone.
Except what I make. We just have to learn to get along on it.
But why? Why?
Because, honey, it's all wrong. And more I'm becoming aware of my immortal soul and how much it means to me.
Sell me the bottle.
Aren't you concerned with your immortal soul?
Oh, Barry, you know I don't believe in that rubbish about after death. Anyway, I could always sell it to someone else.
Only you wouldn't have the nerve. Oh, no. Oh, no, Leisha, you are the last person I'd ever sell the imp in the bottle to.
Yes?
Val, it's Leisha.
What a wonderful surprise.
May surprise you even more. Would you like to invite me to dinner?
You and...
I said me.
Consider me surprised even more. Just name the night and where you would like to go.
Where? Your house. When? As soon as possible.
More brandy?
No, thanks.
I think, in view of all you have just told me, Leisha, I will. I want you, no matter what your youth. And I can make you happy physically. I have more money than I need, although never more than I want. I will be happy to make a pre-marriage settlement with you. The one thing is the fly in the ointment, the imp in the bottle.
But that's just a plaything for me. A luck charm. Whether you believe in it or not. And you can get it for less than $5.
Why should he sell it to me, a stranger? Why not to you?
Because he believes whoever buys it sells his soul to the devil.
I don't want to talk about that nonsense anymore. What I will discuss is our marriage settlement, your divorce, and your promise to me of faithfulness and a child. If that is agreed, then I promise you I will buy your whatever it is in the bottle tomorrow. Or the first feasible day. Agreed?
Agreed.
I knew nothing of this conversation, naturally, since Leisha shared little with me these days. Besides, in the first months working with Charlie, I was so fascinated, captivated, drenched in the business of old coins, that I had little else on my mind. It never even occurred to me that Leisha's request for a quick divorce, and my granting it, even though I still loved her, had anything to do with a man I vaguely remembered from our transatlantic crossing and newspaper headlines in general.
And I really must apologize for my long cross-examination, but my hobby, I must admit, is ceremonial magic, the Kabbalah, the Grimoire Verum. I suppose you might say all forms of black magic.
I see.
I envy you your amulet. I don't suppose you would consider selling it.
Oh, wait a minute. If I thought you knew and understood its history.
But believe me, I do.
Uh-huh. Then perhaps you're the one.
Name your price.
What do you tip the beach boy here?
50, 75 cents.
You have it in your swim shorts?
Yes.
Then as long as you know what you're getting into, you have a deal. I'll take 50 cents, and the bottle imp is yours. So I thought foolishly that was the end of it. Of the thing in the bottle, at least. Well placed with a man whose beliefs or leanings served him right for whatever happened to him afterwards. Even after our divorce, and Lisha remarried Valentine Stavrasis, I was able to put it out of my mind. He owned the devil's curse, not she. And with all his great self-earned wealth, she should be happy. And then 7 years later, fate took us all in hand again. It was hard not to know of Valentine's massive and probably fatal attack. It was headlines in all the papers.
Nurse, would you leave us alone, please? Val? Val, can you hear me?
What? What?
It's Lisha. Lisha.
Lisha. Thank God. Lisha. Find someone. Find someone.
Find someone for what?
I can feel it. I'm going to die. But not with the black imp waiting for me in the bottle. I'm afraid. Got to sell. Got to save me.
It's all right, Val. I'll buy it. And promise you to get rid of it. I don't need it anymore. How much? What did you pay for it? Val.
50 cents.
Just let me look in my bag. I'll open it and give you less, whatever change I have. Oh.
Hurry before it's too late.
Oh, God, I haven't any change. There's no change. I gave it to the taxi man.
Please,
oh,
help me. I can feel the hot, stinking breath. His wings folding about me. Don't let me die. Die forever in torment.
Oh, thank God. A little miracle. Here, Val, stuck in the corner of my purse, a penny, a cent. All I have.
Oh, no. Now you can wear him about your neck. I'm safe. I'm safe. I can die in peace.
As Val died, his lungs unable to sustain their pressure even underneath the oxygen tent, Lisha, without thought, lit a cigarette. It was a week before I could see her in the hospital. And even under sedation and in wet bandages, she was in the agonies of hell. She blurted out the story of the bottle imp and thought she was already in hell and dead. Thank God there was something I could do for her. Lisha. Lisha, it's Barry.
No, I'm dead. In hell. Curse came true.
No, not yet, honey. Not yet. You're still alive. You can still sell him.
It's too late. I bought him at the bottom. 1 cent. I'm stuck.
No, don't you believe it. Lucky you happen to know an old, loving numismatist. All right. You don't like the word coin collector. Lots of coins in the world worth less than a cent. A lira, the Cambodian sen, the Japanese yen. Oh, I could go on forever.
I can't, Barry. Not after all this agony. I couldn't wish it on anyone. Can't sell like him.
You can and you will. To me, for a lira I just happen to have with me.
No, I've made you suffer enough.
It's all over. Don't worry. In my business, I can find a coin cheap enough to pass the imp in the bottle on to someone who really deserves it. And I'll fix it so he can't get rid of it.
Barry. Barry, why couldn't I love you enough?
Sell me that imp first. There. Hang on to the coin. It's your passport to whatever there is after for you. Oh, Alicia. Maybe someday I'll meet you. Alicia. Oh. She's gone. Oh, darling. I hope you've found peace at last.
Barry's business as a coin collector grew, and paramount among his collection of coins were all the ones of lowest value in the world, sufficient of them to make change for any larger denomination. Sooner or later, he knew he would meet someone who really deserved the imp in the bottle. And sooner or later, he did. I'll be back shortly. I understand that a power-hungry dictator bought the imp in the bottle for one of Barry's near-worthless coins. Fortunately, he never was able to use the money he amassed to buy the weaponry with which he planned to conquer a continent. He died rather suddenly of an obscure disease, undiagnosed. But it may have occurred to you that the lower the price of the imp, the sooner the owner seemed to depart this life. Our cast included William Redfield, Joan Lorring, Ian Martin, Santos Ortega, and Leon Janney. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown.
Now, a preview of our next tale.
Jekyll, are you in trouble?
Huh? What do you mean, trouble?
Well, with this Hyde, does he have something on you? Is he blackmailing you?
That's a ridiculous thought.
Then what is it? How can you, Dr. Henry Jekyll, one of the most honorable and respected physicians in London, have any association whatever with a terrible person like this Hyde? Why have you made over your estate to him, especially when you're to marry Beatrice Lanyon? And why that stipulation in the event of your disappearance? Jekyll, I beg you, tell me what it means.
I cannot. I cannot.
But as your friend,
You are the friend you say you are. Do me the favor of never mentioning Edward Hyde again.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. E.G. Marshall. The one place where all men meet sooner or later is the grave. It's the place where all roads end. That small model of the barren earth which serves as paste and cover to our bones. What happens then when two old friends meet beyond the grave? When one of them has been living under the threat of death by the other? A threat from the grave? A threat made in a crowded courtroom more than 20 years ago.
If not for you, Sammy, I'd have got away with it. But you'll pay for it. With your life. My name ain't Johnny Promise for nothing, kid. So just keep your eye on the calendar.
Count the days, one by one. Because I tell you, after I get mine, I'll see to it that you got no more than 1 month to live. Remember, Johnny let you have it straight from the grave.
Our mystery drama, Deadline for Death, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Arnold Moss and stars Michael Tolan and Joseph Julian. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act One. Was the threat Johnny Promise made some minutes ago an empty warning? Can a dead man moldering under the damp earth for 20 years doom the life of another man? Can a corpse, long dead, wreak vengeance on another human being from the immeasurable distance of another world? We're about to find out as Johnny Promise talks to his old friend, Sammy Rogers.
Sam? Sam Rogers? Answer me, Sam. It's so dark here we can't see one another, but we can hear. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. Sam?
Why can't you leave me alone?
Nobody's bothering you, Sam. Nobody. Just someone to talk to is all. Old friends, old time's sake. Nothing wrong in that, is there? Is there? Nice to talk over old times. Friendly. Makes me feel good. Besides, what else is there to do in this place?
I don't want to talk, Johnny. Not again.
Oh, don't be unfriendly, Sam. Not here.
Get your kick some other way. Leave me alone. Stop torturing me. It's been finished all over for a long time.
Oh, tell me again how it was. Just one more time. Like what went wrong on our bank job? How we had it worked out so good? How some way we goofed? How the cops broke in on us and we began to run? How the big one took a shot at me and I shot back and let that cop have it right through the head? How they all started to target in on me? How I called you for help? And how you ran away? And ran and ran and ran? You did manage to save your own little neck, didn't you? Tell it to me again, Sammy.
You've heard it 1,000 times.
I know, Sam, I know. And more than anything, I love the way you tell about the courtroom. That hot summer day, 20 years ago, back in the 50s. I'll never forget that one. Especially your part. You'll never forget it either. Because as long as we're here together, I won't let you forget, Sammy. I won't let you.
Johnny Promo, also known as Johnny Promise, a jury of your peers has found you guilty of the murder of Officer Corcoran in the first degree. Are there any last words you would like to say before I pronounce sentence?
Yes, Your Honor. But it's not for the court. It's for Sam Rogers sitting over there, star witness for the prosecution. You saved your own skin, Sammy, by squealing about me to the DA. If not for you, I'd have got away with it. But you'll pay for it, Sammy boy, with your life. My name ain't Johnny Promise for nothing, kid. So keep an eye on the calendar. Count the days, one by one. Because after I get mine, I'll see to it that you get no more than a month to live.
Order!
Maybe less than a month, but not 1 minute more. Don't look so scared, Sammy. If you live past the month, you're safe. But I got a lot of friends and a lot of dough to toss around to those friends. Today you buy loyalty like you buy lamb chops, so don't count on more than a month. And when you get yours, remember Johnny Promise let you have it. Straight from the grave. Remember the date, Sam? The date the judge named for me to burn in the electric chair?
I don't remember.
Oh, that's not true. You remember. August the 28th, 5 o'clock in the morning. Taps for Johnny Promise. A man with a code of honor. A man whose word was a thing of respect. And above everything else, your friend. Now, how could you forget that?
You will never let me.
And little Sammy with his big mouth made the whole thing happen, right?
Cut it out, Johnny. I don't want to hear anymore. What do you get from tormenting me like this?
Laughs. And it passes the time. We got no place to go. We're going to be here for the rest of our... let's say for a long, long time. And I like to laugh. And that story of yours is good for 1,000,000 of them. Let's have it, Sammy boy. What was it like for you after I got mine? Come on, tell it just like it happened. Tell it.
After the judge pronounced your sentence, I sat there in the courtroom like it was me he had sentenced. The cold sweat was pouring out of my body. I couldn't move. I could hardly breathe. All I could hear was your voice laughing and saying, "A month to live. 1 month to live." I knew for sure that within the month after you burned, you'd see to it somehow that I got mine. So I holed up in that scrubby hotel room, way up on the 9th floor. And for 2 whole weeks, I didn't see anyone. I wouldn't answer the phone. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I wouldn't open the door. Except for Linda. She was the only one I could trust.
It's me, Sam.
Come in quick.
Here's your dinner, Sam.
Thanks, Linda.
And today's newspaper?
September the 12th. 15 days since Johnny...
You've got to stop thinking about it.
Stop thinking about it. By 5 a.m. of the 28th, I'll be a dead man. And it could come at any time. In a week, tomorrow, in an hour.
But you've taken care, sweetie. Nobody can get at you up here. And once you get past the 28th, you're a free man. Johnny said so, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
And he never broke his promise, did he?
Yeah, that's what I'm counting on. But just the same, every morning I wake up after a bad night and I hear myself talking to myself. I say, today, will it be today? Is this my last day on Earth? That's what's driving me crazy.
Sam, you've got to find things to take your mind off of it. It's only another couple of weeks. And then...
And then?
We'll go away someplace, far away. Start a whole new life. Why don't you eat something? It'll make you feel better.
I'm not hungry. Maybe a little coffee while it's still hot.
I got the change from the 20 you gave me.
Forget it.
It's right here in my bag.
What are those?
The keys.
What keys?
To this room.
To this room?
Of course.
Where did you get them?
You gave them to me, don't you remember?
I never gave you any keys to this room. Who gave you those keys?
I told you, Sam, you did.
You lousy little liar! Where did you get those keys?
I don't know what you're talking about.
He even got to you.
Oh, Sam, how could you think that
He got to that crummy desk clerk first, didn't he? And then to you. And you had the duplicate made. Who made the payoff? I said, who made the payoff?
Sam, you're insane. Why would I ever do anything to hurt you?
Because for $500, $1,000 you'd do anything. Now get out of here, you little tramp, but fast.
Oh, you're wrong, Sam. You're wrong. I love you.
Get out.
Oh, wait, Sam. Please.
I don't need you or anybody. Get out before I kill you. It was the house phone. Not my private line with the unlisted number. Only 2 people ever knew that number. You, Johnny, and Linda. But this was from the lobby downstairs. I stood there listening to it ring. I didn't dare answer it. The sound began to bore a little hole into my brain. And finally... Yeah? Who is it?
It's me, Sam. Linda.
You? How could it be you? You just went out of the door. Where are you?
In the lobby downstairs. I'm so glad you answered.
How did you get down there so fast?
Please, Sam, listen to me. I know how you felt about those keys, but you've got to trust me.
Yeah, sure. How did you get to the phone
You've got to get hold of yourself. Why don't you have the locks changed on your door?
Why? For what reason?
Call in a locksmith. Somebody who never heard of you, of me, of Johnny, anybody we know. Let him change the locks and give the keys only to you. One of a kind for each lock. No duplicates. Do that, Sam. Please. You know I'd never do anything to hurt you.
Yeah, sure, sweetie. It's a good idea. I don't know what got into me. What made me think that you... I'm sorry, Linda, for everything.
You call a locksmith, yes?
First thing in the morning.
I'll be seeing you, Sam.
Huh? Oh, yeah, Linda. Right. That was real tricky of you, Johnny. Leading me to suspect that Linda might be the one you'd pick to get me. After I put the phone down, an idea came to me. Hit me like a thunderbolt. Made the best sense of anything in the past couple of weeks. What was the point of living holed up like a rat? Like a sitting duck in that lousy hotel room, waiting, just waiting for you, Johnny, to make me a target for whoever you paid off to let me have it.
For once you thought Johnny Promise is going to be outsmarted, right? For once you thought Johnny Big Mouth was going to meet his match. How could you have been so dumb?
Why hadn't I thought of it before? All I had to do, Johnny, was to find out who it was you picked to put the finger on me. Once I knew who it was, I could take care of him before he ever got the chance to get to me. Pretty good thinking, Johnny, right? And I knew the first and best place to start looking. The bowling alley was one of the crowd's favorite hangouts. If your man was any place, Johnny, this was it. I noticed a couple of familiar faces. Hi, Benny. What's new? How's the wife? Hey, Tommy. Putting on a little weight, huh? Better take it easy with a beer. What do you say, Benny? How's the score? Still over 250?
Every one of them. They just walked away, didn't they? Wherever you went, the guys moved away, turned their backs on you without a word. Like you were some kind of bad news, some kind of disease.
I went to the bar to order a drink. A beer, Joey.
You'd known Joey the bartender for years. He gave you your drink without so much as a word.
I swallowed my beer, and as I did, I spotted little Red Mike down at the other end of the bar. I never liked him from the first time I met him.
And everybody knew he never liked you.
Something about him, his beady little eyes looked at you like a rat. I walked over to him. Without saying anything, he started to move away from me. I grabbed him by the back of the neck. Don't you walk away from me, you little louse. I know what you're up to.
Hey, let go of me. What do you think you're doing?
It's you, ain't it? You're the one. You're the one he picked to do his job.
What are you talking about? Get your hands off of me. I don't know what you're saying.
You sniveling, two-faced rat. You thought I was afraid of you, huh? I'm gonna let you have it. This minute, before you get me. Johnny Promise's little stoolie. Keep your hands where they are, Mike.
Hey, you're crazy, Sam. Johnny's dead. Put that gun down. Please. I don't know what you're thinking, but you're making a big mistake. Would a smart crooked like Johnny ever pick somebody like me to do what you're thinking? Put your gun down and frisk me. Come on. If you don't believe me, frisk me, Sammy.
Okay. All right, so I made a mistake. But from now on, stay out of my way, understand?
Whatever you say. But you really ought to take it easy. Because you know as well as I do, when your time comes, you'll go. Just like everybody else.
Johnny, that's your voice coming out of Red Mike's mouth.
Meantime, we gotta take care, don't we, Sammy?
What kind of crazy trick are you pulling, Johnny?
And you can count on me for the best care a feller ever had. Like they say in the cemetery, Sammy. Perpetual care. I promise.
There's a delicate little mechanism inside the heads of all of us. When you're threatened by an overpowering fear, for example, whatever or whoever is the cause of that fear turns the little machine on. And wherever you go, you see that person. Hear his voice, feel his touch. Like what's happening to Sammy, right? Just how far and to what ends will the little machine drive Sam Rogers? We'll find out shortly when we return with Act 2. great mysteries is time. It often happens that time seems never to move forward, when the minutes are suspended in some terrifying space and refuse to move. And then there is that silent, never-resting thing called time that rolls on, rushes along, swift as an ocean tide, on which we and the whole universe ride. For Sam Rogers, time was beginning to take on a new meaning.
The end of the month was getting closer and closer. The days were racing by. Every night I shut my eyes to try to get just a couple of hours sleep. I kept myself awake thinking.
What were you thinking, Sammy? Tell me.
That I had to find the guy you picked. The guy that was going to let me have it. I kept telling myself, get to him before he gets to you, and there'll be nothing to worry about. Sooner or later, I had to find him.
Once you made your mind up about that, you began to feel a whole lot better.
Yeah, I began to live almost a normal life again. Like the day I went to the custom shop to get fitted for a couple of new suits.
I congratulate you on your choice of materials. The silver mohair and silk will make up into a perfectly lovely suit. And so will the tweed.
And don't forget the extra padding on the shoulders.
Well, if you'll forgive me, it's the natural look this year. The real look of the 50s. No padding.
Extra padding on the shoulders.
Well, of course, as you wish.
I wish.
Certainly, sir. Now, if you'll just stand still for a moment while I drape this material over your shoulder.
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
Hey, let go of my arm,
Put that
please.
scissors down. Drop it, I tell you. Drop it.
All I was trying to do, sir.
I know what you were trying to do.
Well, I'm very sorry, sir. Very sorry. I assure you it won't happen again. But you see, Sammy, you got to realize it could be anybody. Anybody at all.
It was happening again. The tailor who was standing there in front of me, right in the middle of a sentence, it was your voice that was coming out of him. Your words. And there was that day in Luigi's barber shop. I hadn't been to the barber in weeks. Luigi had been my barber for 15 years. There was one guy in the world I could trust. It was him.
And that's what the guy on the radio says, Sam. If we get the same kind of heat tomorrow like we have today, it's going to set some kind of record. Imagine. The end of September, 96 degrees.
Yeah, that's what they call real Indian summer.
If it don't cool off, Sam, they can give this summer back to the Indians. You understand?
I sweated out every stroke of that sharp razor. While Luigi went droning on about the weather, I held my breath, thinking, maybe my friend. He was your friend too, Johnny.
No, so...
My eyes are shut. All he has to do is to let that blade slip just one little bit. Accidentally, you know.
All right, chin up a little higher, Sam. Just a little more.
And who would know the difference?
Ah, there we go. Let me just lower the chair a little, huh?
Hey, what are you doing?
Well, like always, a nice hot towel. Opens up all of the pores. When they're open, a little lotion closes them up again.
He could have let me have it right then and there while he was shaving me. But he didn't. When he wrapped that hot towel over my face, instead of it feeling good, I suddenly got the idea that this could be it. Luigi could smother me to death. And there I sat, helpless, beneath that hot towel. I ripped it off, screaming, "You thought you had me, didn't you, huh? You and your hot towel!"
What's the matter with you?
Here's what you can do with your towel. Hey! I'll have to think of something better than that. Only you'll never get the chance. You've seen me here for the last time.
I don't know what you're talking about, Sam. But it won't do you no good. Getting excited this way.
It was your voice again, Johnny.
You gotta learn to calm down. Take things easy. Listen to me, Sam. Easy does it. After all, there's only 3 more days to go. Right?
I raced all the way back to my hotel. I got to my room, I opened the door, and I slammed it shut. Oh, my lungs were bursting. I sucked in whatever air I could in big gulps. There was a sharp pain in the middle of my chest, like a knife sticking right into me. But I was safe. Nobody could get at me here. Never mind that idiotic idea of trying to find out who was supposed to put the finger on me. Just sit it out. Sit it out. Right here, I told myself. Play it safe. But when I looked around the room, I knew that I was not safe. Even here. There was a peculiar feeling about the place.
You couldn't say exactly what it was until you looked to see what time it was.
And then I saw that my little electric clock on the dresser was turned around with its face to the wall. And it was unplugged. In the bathroom, there was broken glass sitting on the sink. Somebody had been there, that's for sure. No maids. I never let the maids in. Maids or anybody else. Except Linda. Linda was right. She was right. I had to get those locks changed today without waiting another hour.
Well, yes, sir, they may cost you a little more, but you know, you got the best and safest locks American ingenuity can devise.
Well, this makes me feel a whole lot better.
Now, when you turn the key, this pin tumbler drops right down into the holes that are waiting for them.
Huh?
And there you are, safe and sound. Now you should have real peace of mind.
Thank you very much.
And here are your keys, one for each lock. No duplicates, just like you ordered on the phone.
Good, that's fine.
Take my advice, sir. Change your mind. Get duplicates made.
I don't want any duplicates.
Well, it might be a lot of trouble to get them later on. Each key is made on a special machine. The formula of each key is registered.
It's the way I want it.
But supposing you lose one of them, the only way you're ever going to get in is to call me, which might be somewhat inconvenient for you. Now, suppose you got a real friendly date. You've had a fine dinner.
Why was he giving me this big song and dance about the possibility of lost couple of keys? Why was this guy I'd never seen before? Picked the address right out of the yellow pages. Why was he so anxious for me to order duplicate keys?
And that's why I recommend you have another pair made.
I have no intention of losing these keys.
Well, no one ever wants to, but take my advice.
I don't want your advice. And suddenly it hit me. This could be the guy you picked to get me. By some crazy coincidence. Who was he anyway? Somebody I'd picked out of the phone book. And that's why he was selling me this bill of goods about duplicate keys. The whole thing was a big put-on. Here's your money. Thank you.
Well, whatever you say, you're the boss.
Now get out of here. Get out before I throw you out.
Well, if anything should happen, don't say I didn't warn you. A door you can't get into could turn out to be a matter of life and death. But maybe you're right. If someone really wants to get in there...
I don't know how you did it, but that trick with the voices was driving me up the wall.
I guess a little thing like a couple of keys is not going to stop them. We both know that, Sammy. Don't we?
I was trapped. It was bad enough the way it was before. Now with the locks changed by this strange guy, the walls began closing in on me. The room got smaller and smaller. The air I tried to breathe burned my lungs. I threw open the window and took a deep breath. It didn't do any good. It's like a fire inside of me. If I could only get a little sleep, I would try to face what the next day might bring. After a while, I went into the bathroom.
You stepped into the shower, turned on the water, right? Hard. The spray of the shower felt good. It seemed to wash away all the crazy things you were feeling. You gave yourself a good, brisk rub down with a heavy bath towel.
Till my skin tingled and glowed from the rubbing.
You thought, I'll brush my teeth and hit the sack for a good night's rest. And then...
And as I started to put the toothbrush into my mouth, there in the bathroom mirror, I saw something that blew my mind into little bits. The teeth I was brushing, the eyes that were watching what I did were not my teeth, not my eyes. They were not mine, Johnny. They were yours. I'll never see that face in that mirror again. And then, instead of panicking, the funniest thing happened.
Everything suddenly became clear.
For the first time in weeks, my thoughts were not confused. It all came into focus. For the first time, it got to me that I was letting the whole pattern of my life be spelled out by a dead man.
And where the day before that idea would have hit you like a wallop in the pit of your stomach, where yesterday the idea would have made you dizzy and sick, right that minute, as you looked at the mirror you just smashed, you realized it didn't have to be this way, didn't you?
It was a cinch from this point on. You'd been trying to rattle me, Johnny. But now I knew exactly what I had to do. And that was to stay just where I was, with the door locked, till the month was up.
Tell me how you caught the dateline of the newspaper that was lying on the bed. How you stared at it. How it kept moving towards you.
The print grew bigger and bigger. It exploded at me. Today was September 27th. One more day. One more day, and the month would be over. And you, Johnny, would be out of my life forever. My head began to swim with excitement. Kept telling myself, live through this one day, Sammy, get through this night, and then 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, you've got it made. What made me so absolutely 100% sure? Simple.
Johnny Promise never went back on his word, right?
Right. I made a grab for the phone.
Front desk, can I help you?
What time is it exactly?
Exactly 11:15 p.m.
You sure?
I just checked it with the radio.
I'll set my clock. It stopped. And today's the 27th?
It'll be the 28th and 3/4 of an hour at midnight. And don't forget...
Thank you very much.
By the way, the young lady just came in. She's standing here at the desk. She'd like to talk to you.
What young lady?
Oh, your young lady.
Put her on.
How are you feeling, Sam?
It couldn't be better. A couple hours more and it'll all be over. What are you doing down there in the lobby?
I thought I'd be close in case you needed anything.
Well, why don't you get us a couple of hamburgers and coffee?
Right away. See you soon. He's feeling great, he says.
Well, that's nice for a change.
He's sure that in only a few hours he'll be a free man again.
Poor guy. Why don't you tell him?
I couldn't. I don't know what he'd do if he knew. Anyway, he'd never believe me.
It might be the best way. Tell him the truth.
How could I tell him that he's a very sick man? That his whole sense of time is mixed up, confused. That he doesn't know one day from another. In the state he's in, how could I possibly tell him that Johnny Promise actually went to the electric chair almost 3 years ago?
Does one tell a dying man what he's about to meet, or keep the secret from him? I suppose it depends on how you see death. If you look at it as a friend, you entertain it. If it comes as an enemy, you prepare to overcome it. Death has its greatest advantage when it comes as a stranger, as it may or may not be coming to Sam Rogers. We'll know the answer when we return shortly with Act 3. It has been said, a man is never less alone than when he is alone. Thoughts crowd in on him. His imagination summons up multitudes. And which is harder to bear? The fear of loneliness, or as in the case of Sam Rogers, the loneliness that comes from fear. Somewhere in a lonely graveyard, a cold wind whistles over the moonlit tombs. From a purgatory of his own making, Sam Rogers is forced by Johnny Promise for the 10,000th time to recreate the path of his downfall.
In my hotel room, I kept staring at the clock on my dresser. The hands didn't seem to move at all. They moved so slowly. And then it was midnight. Midnight at last, right on the nose. Only 5 more hours to 5 o'clock. That was when you got yours, Johnny. 5 a.m. And here I was, just 5 hours short of the deadline you'd set for me. 5 hours, 5 years. My blood went cold. Little bumps on the back of my neck. My throat scratchy and dry. I wasn't about to fall for any more of your tricks, Johnny.
Smart boy. You sat there on the bed waiting. You weren't going to answer. The knocking kept on louder and louder with more and more force. You sat so still the muscles in your back and legs began to stiffen and ache. There was a dull pounding at the base of your skull. Finally, you saw the sheet of paper come sliding under the door.
4 words written in red. with what seemed to be lipstick. It's me, Linda. Open. Carefully, quietly, I got off the bed, went to the door, and I whispered, "Who is it?"
It's me. Open the door. Did you forget? The hamburgers and the coffee?
Get in, quick.
Are you all right?
Fine.
Here's your coffee. Light, the way you like it.
And no sugar?
No sugar. The rare hamburger is yours.
In less than 5 hours, Linda, we're going to leave this town for good. I never want to see it again. We'll start all over again, fresh. Maybe Alaska or Mexico.
Whatever you say, Sam.
We talked of our plans for the future, where we might go, what we'd do, the family would raise, pushing all other thoughts right out of our heads. It was exciting and beautiful. I looked at the clock again. Where had the time gone? It was 4:45. I said to Linda, "You've got to leave."
Why?
When I walk out that door, I want to do it alone. You understand why?
Of course I understand.
I'll meet you in about an hour at your place.
Good night, Sam.
The next time I looked at the clock, it was a couple of minutes past 5. The time had come at last. I'd paid my dues. And I'd showed you up, Johnny Promise. For the first time, your word wasn't worth so much as one bent nickel. Mustn't take any chances. Not at this late date. 110% foolproof. Safe. Give myself every possible break. The benefit of every doubt. No chances. Give myself, half-hour cushion? Wait till 5:30 at least. And beat it out of here. Fast and forever.
And you hung on. Those last few minutes were the longest in your life, weren't they?
Finally, that big hand on the clock dropped down to the 6. It was 5:30.
A half hour past the deadline I'd set for you. So you took a deep breath and you screamed.
You lost, Johnny. You lost. Sammy outsmarted you. So rot away in your grave, bit by bit, piece by piece. Because I'm alive, Johnny, and I'm going to stay alive. But you, my friend, are dead. As dead as yesterday.
5:40. 20 minutes to 6. I turned the keys. First in one lock, then the other. I flung open the door. I ran down the hallway, rang for the elevator. When I got to my floor, the door opened. I took one last look behind me and got into the elevator car.
But then you thought, the elevator man, can I trust him? Was he dependable? Could he possibly? No, that's all over and done with. I don't have to be afraid of anybody, not anymore. You'd had your bad dream. You were finished with waking up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. The nightmare was over. The only thing that was real was that you were alive and breathing. What happened when the car reached the lobby floor?
I rushed past the front desk out into the street. There was a chill, penetrating drizzle. It was still dark. The promise of a new day was doing its best to break through in the east. For the first time in I don't know how long, I felt able to slow down. I started walking in the direction of Linda's place. Slow, with a sure, firm step. The streets were deserted.
It figures. A Sunday morning, 5:45. Wonderful feeling, wasn't it? Like the whole city belonged to you and you alone.
That's right. The buildings took on a look of friendliness, like I'd never seen them before. The traffic lights were changing from red to green, then back from green to red, but there was no traffic. Like a ghost city, abandoned. And my own footsteps echoed behind me as I walked. Was it my imagination? I thought I heard 2 pair of footsteps following mine.
But you didn't have the guts to turn around and look back. For a minute, you thought maybe they were your own footsteps echoing down those narrow streets.
I stopped. They stopped. I started to walk. They started. I got to a corner and quickly turned into the other street. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw 2 men. It wasn't light enough to make out their faces. They weren't saying a word. They just seemed to have their minds on one thing, to keep me in their sight no matter where I went. My heart stopped. There they were, less than 50 feet behind me. Following. Sickening thought came to me. Terrifying.
Tell me about it.
It's possible, I thought. Anything is possible. Just suppose in some crazy way that I made a mistake. Suppose my clock had been wrong. I think it's 5:45, but I suppose...
Then all of a sudden you found yourself passing the jewelry shop. You looked up at the big clock that hung over the entrance.
I almost passed out with what I saw. I swallowed hard. My mouth felt like it was stuffed with cotton wadding. I looked up once more to make sure.
And what did you see?
The clock said 5:45. 5:45, not 6.
Something was wrong, wasn't it? The whole thing was like crazy. How could it be? And those two faceless men were still there following you. There was a bank on the opposite corner.
I raced across to look at the clock outside the bank. I couldn't believe what I saw. That clock, too, said 5:45. Then I began running. I didn't know where. Didn't care. If those clocks, for some insane reason, were right and I was wrong, then I still owed you 15 minutes, Johnny. You still had 15 minutes to get me. And those two men following me. Oh, it can't be, I told myself. Those clocks are both crazy. It's 5:45. It has to be. Checked and double-checked.
And then something like a heavy sledgehammer hit you right between the eyes. Sammy, you stupid, ignorant dummy, you said to yourself. How could you be so blind? How could you have missed it? That's what the desk clerk was trying to tell you. It was the last Sunday in September. In those days, daylight savings time ended at 2 o'clock in the morning. The last Sunday in September.
Of course. And those clocks had all been turned back 1 hour. Only I forgot to turn my clock back. It is 5:45. It's 5, not 6. You crazy fool. You thick-skulled, brainless imbecile. You deserve to die.
Now we're getting to the best part, ain't we, Sammy? You began to walk, right? Slow at first, then a little faster. Finally breaking into a run. Whenever you got to a corner, you turned. When you saw an alley, you ran into it. When there was a fence, you vaulted over it. Then out into the streets again. But no matter what you did, wherever you went, those same two characters stuck to your tail. You couldn't shake them.
They stuck right behind me, always the same 50 feet away. I kept running until I thought my sides would burst. And then way off in the distance, I heard the deep-throated bombs of a church bell striking the hour. I stopped running. I waited. Counted. 3, 4, 5. Come on, 6. Come on, 6.
That was it, Sammy boy. You doubled up and fell to the pavement. You never got to the count of 6, because there wasn't any 6. You dropped right there where you were standing, right? Your body crumpled up like a little rag doll. It was all over, just like I promised. Except for one thing. One little thing. Remember, Sammy?
I remember.
Tell me how it was, Sammy.
I dropped, like you said.
And then?
The two men rushed up. One of them felt my pulse, and the other my heart.
And there was no pulse. There was no heartbeat.
I was dead.
Go on, Sam.
One of the men got up from where he'd been kneeling over my body, turned slowly to the other fella, and said,
"He's dead, all right. And not a mark on him. That big newspaper delivery truck passed by. Backfired. Just backfired. And this guy drops dead. I guess we better call the police."
So Johnny kept his word after all, didn't he? And even today, from where he is now, he keeps assuring the rest of his companions.
It's like it's my code of honor. Once I give my word, I never break it. That's why they still call me Johnny Promise. Right, Sammy?
Right, Johnny.
Oh, and, Sammy.
Yeah?
Tomorrow, I want you to tell me the whole story all over again. From the very beginning. Right?
Right.
I'll be back shortly. You may recall that Johnny had promised he was going to give Sammy the best of care. Everlasting, perpetual care. Which is exactly what happened. Before he passed away, Johnny signed a contract with the cemetery to provide Sammy Rogers' grave with perpetual care. Weeds removed, flowers 4 times a year, neat and beautiful till the end of time. Always a man of his word. Our cast included Joseph Julian, Michael Tolan, June Gable, and Guy Rep. Production was under the direction of Hyman Brown.
Now, a preview of our next tale.
This is the Mass of Saint-Césaire.
I couldn't bear to look, Father Giles. I couldn't, and yet I couldn't bear not to look. And when he raised the host high for us to see, I couldn't believe what he held in his hands.
Fall to your knees, Louise.
But that is not the host. It's black.
Black and 3-pointed. On your knees, Louise.
Oh.
This is the Mass of Saint-Césaire.
The awful Mass had started at 11, and now it was drawing to a close as the hour of midnight struck.
It is over, Louise, and Peter Sorel has begun to die.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser, and Buick Motor Division. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. E.G. Marshall. We've all had the experience of meeting someone who bears a remarkable resemblance to someone else. In a country peopled by 220 million individuals, is it possible that someone somewhere is your double? Not just someone who looks like you, but a complete and exact double? Susan Hollis can answer that question better than I.
I was waiting for the light to change at 5th and 49th when it began. A stoutish, stylish older woman was headed past me for the door to Saks when suddenly she stopped and her jaw dropped, looking for all the world as if she was seeing a ghost.
Helen Roberts!
I can't believe it.
I'm afraid you've made a mistake.
Oh, not me, honey. Don't try to tell your one-time friend and next-door neighbor that you're not Mrs. X. Daniel Rogers of Sterling Drive in Sandport.
Nope, just plain Susan Hollis of Jackson Heights, Queens.
Okay, that's the way you want it. Heaven knows I want no part of you. I'm only sorry to see you looking so well after what you did. By this time, the way you were going, I thought you'd have been long dead.
Our mystery drama, Double Exposure, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Kim Hunter. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser, and Buick Motor Division. I'll be back shortly with Act One. This is a tale of today, a search for a dark and clouded past, a haunting story of chance encounter, if there is such a thing, or is everything predestined from the moment we come into the world, crying for the warmth and comfort we have left. This is a story whose present is buried in the past, to be lost and found again in the future. But it is not my story. It belongs to Susan Hollis.
Well, it wasn't a very pleasant encounter, but it was just a small mistake in identity, something to be disregarded. But in the meantime, the light had changed, and I stepped off the curb. And it happened again. This time it couldn't be waved away as easily. It changed my whole life.
Helen! Well, I'll be damned.
Look, I'm not...
All these years looking for you, and the first day I'm back again in the U.S., you're the first person I run into.
I'm sorry, but I am not Helen.
Oh, now, look, you can't get away with that. Don't you think I know my own wife?
What?
Oh, come here. We better get back on the curb. We're blocking traffic. Here, let me give you a hand.
I wasn't going back this way. I wanted to cross. And I wish you'd listen to me. I am not Helen Roberts. And I'm certainly not your wife.
Well, technically, of course, the Roberts is out. What is the name now, anyway?
My name is of no importance to you. Now, if you'll be kind enough to let me go.
Come on now, Helen. Give me a break, huh? Well, let's go somewhere for a drink, and I can at least tell you about the children. Or don't you even want to hear about them?
Will you listen to me, please? I have never been your wife. I've never seen you before in my life.
But I just saw you talking to Lillian Freiberg before she went into the store.
I never saw that woman in my life before either. This is getting like a nightmare. Look, I just...
Helen, please, be reasonable. Now, if you don't want to talk here, give me a phone number or an address where I can reach you.
Let me go. Or I warn you, I'll holler like all get out for a cop.
I'm sorry.
And once more, just so maybe it will sink in, I am not who you think I am. I would have laughed at the whole thing, except they both seem so darn positive. All afternoon, the incidents came back to haunt me and annoy me. Because of them, I kept making typos and got so behind in my work. I finally did forget the whole silly thing in a rush to get all my letters typed in time to make the subway before the rush hour. But having dinner with Ed that night, it came back to me. And I told him about it.
You sure you don't want dessert?
No, thanks, Ed. Just enough room to finish my coffee. You go ahead, though.
Not me. I'm having trouble squeezing into my uniforms right now. Sitting in that squad car does it.
On you, it looks good.
On me, it looks just as bad as anyone. Except it don't matter all that much.
What do you mean?
If I got all the way back down to 175, I still couldn't get anywheres with you.
Ed, please. Our friendship is too valuable to me. Let's not start that again.
Oh, don't worry. I took my licks on that 2 years ago. Well, I say 1 year ago.
You were sweet and kind, Ed. To wait that whole year after Carl died.
Well, I had to give you a chance to shake down, Susan. That was one rough marriage.
Poor Carl. 2 months we had. And then 4 years in a wheelchair.
Well, it's the risk you take when you're a cop. At least the way it's turned out, he left you a pretty rich woman.
All the money in the world couldn't make up for... Oh, Ed, for heaven's sake, let's get off this old merry-go-round.
Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Guess I started it because I keep reaching for the brass ring. So, yeah, let's change the subject. You still a little shook over what happened this afternoon?
Yeah, stupid, I guess, but I am.
Honey, you should spend a couple of days at the precinct house where we run lineups. You any idea how hard it is to get a solid identification from a witness or a plaintiff?
You're talking about someone who's seen the other person once. These two people were a next-door neighbor and a husband. Whoever she is, boy, this woman has got to practically be my twin. It's fascinating. I'd love to see her just once.
If I was you, I'd just leave it lay.
Why?
Well, maybe it's just I'm a cop and I smell things that ain't there. But, you're worth a lot of dough. And you were in the papers.
If anyone who could recognize me from that graduation picture would have to be psychic. But, I guess you're right. It's kind of a funny feeling knowing that somewhere around you have a double. But, I'll take your advice and put it out of my mind. Cheers. I wasn't going to be allowed to forget it. Ed drove me home to that sad, ugly bottom floor of the two-family house which had held so many years of unhappiness for me. Hello?
Good evening. Is this Susan Hollis?
Yes. Who's talking, please?
Now, please don't be alarmed, and please don't hang up. It's Dan Roberts.
Who?
The man who stopped you on the street today at lunchtime on 5th Avenue, remember?
How did you find my phone number?
Oh, the way the visiting fireman always forgets to do. I looked in the phone book.
But how did you know what book to... And how did you know my real name?
If it is your real name.
It is. I have a good mind to report you to the police. Why, you must have been following me.
Now, please, Miss... or Mrs. Hollis, or whoever you are, I'm a consulting engineer, not a private eye.
Then how did you know how to find me?
Well, I saw you bump into Lillian Freiberg just before I caught up with you. I followed her into the department store, naturally, and asked her if you'd given her the same story as me, and she said yes, that you'd claimed to be a Susan Hollis from Queens.
Which now you know I am. So that ends...
Helen, I mean, Miss, or is it Mrs. Hollis?
I don't think that's any of your business.
All right, then, Susan, for want of something more polite, please. I want to see you again. I want to talk to you.
Well, I don't. I want you to stop bothering me.
It's not for me. It's for two little girls named Kim and Janney. Don't they mean anything to you?
No, of course they don't.
Now, damn it, Helen, what kind of a mother... Please, forgive me. I wish I could make you understand, but if you really are who you... Well, you couldn't be. But I've got to see you again, Miss Hollis, or whatever your name is.
Look, for heaven's sakes, if it'll make you talk in sentences instead of gibberish, it's Mrs. Hollis.
You're married.
My husband is dead.
I'm sorry.
So am I. Now, may we say goodbye?
I beg you, I plead with you. There are things I want to say to you, to explain. I can't do it over the phone. Can we meet again? May I meet you for lunch tomorrow at say, the Palm Room at the Park Plaza?
You're the most persistent man I've ever met. And I'm really not a prude, but I don't like pickups.
I really don't see how you can get in much trouble at the Palm Room, do you?
Well, it's a little outside my normal stamping grounds, but... Oh, okay. But I'm a working girl, and my lunch hour's limited. Can we make it at 12:30 sharp? The coldness in my voice as I hung up was more than anything to cover the excitement I couldn't help feeling. I'd never been to the Palm Room. Also, I was intrigued by the mystery of the whole thing. And yes, admit it, Susan. Intrigued by his voice and my memory of a very handsome man that unexpectedly I was about to meet again.
Well, here's to better reacquaintance.
I'll just drink to acquaintance. Buy that?
With pleasure. Now, I'm afraid I'm going to have to do quite a bit of talking.
Well, I'm a good listener.
Now, where to begin? Well?
Do you have every credit card in that wallet?
Well, most. When you travel as much as I do. Oh, here we are. Of course, these photographs were taken 7 years ago, but who would you say that woman is?
Well, it isn't me, of course, but it could be. Oh, Lord, it could be. Helen, I suppose.
That's Helen. And these?
Oh, how adorable.
You, don't recognize them?
No. I suppose these are your daughters.
Yes. Well, they've changed quite a bit in 6 years, of course. But then, they looked like this.
Well, the baby, it's difficult to tell.
Well, she wasn't quite a year old, but Janney...
Oh, yes. Even then, quite a little lady.
3 years old. The day my wife walked out.
Mr. Roberts, if you
Right, just a moment. Now I will do the talking. A consulting engineer with a large firm has to do a great deal of traveling, particularly in his first years with the firm. Well, in the 5 years we were married, I was well aware of the fact that I was gone to Europe, to the Far East, South America, wherever I was sent for over half the time. Now, it's unfair leaving a young wife and later a mother alone for long periods of time in a suburban area, but, well, that was the nature of my job. And then came that terrible day I came back from Brazil. I was tired. The plane was way overdue, and I came home to an empty house. Empty, except for this.
Oh, I really...
Read it, please.
Dan, I'm getting out just before you get home. I couldn't face it. It's all over. I'm going away, and I won't be back. I guess it doesn't do much good to say I'm sorry. Helen. P.S. I'm leaving the kids. They'll be better off with you.
And she dropped completely out of sight. Oh, I was mad at first. I made no attempt to trace her. I had to go to England on a job, so I sold the house and took the kids with me. They're still there. Except now I'm home again and looking for somewhere to bring them back to.
And Helen?
And Helen. With no luck till yesterday.
But I'm not Helen. I'm someone else. However, I do, I know a lot of policemen. Maybe I can help. What was the date she disappeared?
April 14th, 1968. What? Is something wrong? What is it?
Why would Susan start so at a particular date? There's been no doubt in our minds from the very beginning that she is exactly who she says she is. Is it possible that in some way there is doubt in hers? But as I said, this is Susan's story, so we'll let her tell the rest of it when I return shortly with Act 2. In the beginning, this was a simple case of mistaken identity. The only complication possibly being that both the identifiers seemed so positive, so unconvinced by Susan Hollis' claim that she was not Helen Roberts. Then, just at the moment when the more important of the two people, Dan Roberts, appeared to indicate he had been mistaken, Susan herself, hearing the date that Helen Roberts disappeared, has a strangely guilty reaction.
What is it? Is something wrong? What is it?
Nothing. It's just you're mentioning the 14th. It's a date that happens to be very important in my life, too. That's all.
Important how?
How long were you married to Helen?
4 years.
And you met her in How did you meet her?
That's not what you were going to say at first.
You haven't answered my question.
Okay. I met her in a hospital. Nothing serious. I broke my damn fool leg skiing, and they flew me down from New Hampshire to have it set.
What hospital?
Physicians? Why? Why all the questions, the interrogation?
Look, I don't want to talk about it. As a matter of fact, I think I'll just skip lunch.
No, wait a minute. I brought you here to make a truce.
Well, it's having that drink in the middle of the day. I'm not used to it.
What you need is some food, and here it comes.
I really think I should leave.
Will you do me one favor? Finish lunch with me. Food is what you need, and I promise we won't mention Helen or the past.
What shall we talk about?
Us. Just as if it was our first date, which I hope it is. But what I really mean is, I hope it's not the last.
Thank you for the palm room. I have to confess that's really what lured me into accepting your invitation.
Oh? Where would you like to go next time?
Oh, well, I'm not sure there should be a next time.
Well, why? Haven't I told you I'm ready to believe you're exactly who you are, Susan Hollis?
Yes. But you haven't told me exactly why.
Well, I'm afraid I was desperate enough to engage in some skullduggery.
Like what?
I stooped to snoop. You see, I went out to Jackson Heights and your neighborhood this morning, and by posing as a survey taker, I got quite a bit of information about you from the butcher, the baker, your landlord, and so on.
Well, I think you had one hell of a nerve. What did you find out?
Just that you are Mrs. Hollis, that your husband was a policeman, and that while going to the aid of an old lady who was being mugged, he was shot in the back, in the spine, to be exact, by the mugger's accomplice, and that he spent the rest of his life almost completely paralyzed. I'm sorry, Susan. I want somehow to make up some of it to you.
Why?
Well, it's too complicated and too intimate to be talked about here and now.
Look, this is my building anyway, and I'm already late getting back. Goodbye, Dad.
Please, Susan.
I don't know what I'm getting into.
Nothing you'll be sorry for, believe me.
How can you convince me of that? How can I convince... Oh, all right, I'll make a bargain with you, Dad.
I accept without hearing the terms.
Don't call me or come to my house. I'll call you within the next 3 days, I promise. Just give me your number where I can reach you.
I still think it was a crazy thing to do, Susie.
Oh, I should never have called you last night to tell you how he'd gotten my phone number.
Well, that's why I trailed you today. Well, what did he want to talk to you about?
2 things, really. And they both sort of surprised me.
How?
Well, first off, he showed me a picture of his wife.
Huh?
And even given the fact that it was taken 7 years ago, the resemblance was absolutely uncanny.
A picture can be touched up so you couldn't tell it from your own mother if you start from someone looks near enough alike.
But why would he want to do anything like that? What would be the point? Just to meet me?
Why not?
Oh, Ed, you're sweet. Maybe I'm something very special to you, but I'm not nearly as attractive as you.
You'd be surprised how attractive even the ugliest dame with 250,000 fish in the bank, to say nothing of Carl's insurance and your own savings, can look to a guy who lives off of women.
Look, you can't think that about someone as sweet and as nice as Dan.
Oh? Hey, we're on a first-name basis now already?
Oh, well,
Oh, you don't have to tell me. I could tell by the way he was turning it on. He was getting to you.
Oh, look, damn it, I don't like being spied on.
Well, I'm just trying to watch out for you.
Ed, I know, I'm sorry. It's just the way he talked about his wife, even after she'd walked out on him like that.
Walked out on him like what?
I sat down on the couch with Ed and told him everything that had happened. Everything except one thing, of course. He was a good listener. Finally, there wasn't any more to tell except my own side. And that I wasn't telling anyone. except Dr. Vane.
Are you going to see him again?
I don't know. If we do see each other, I'll be the one to decide. And if I do, I don't want to be followed.
I'm going to make you mad, Susie. Until your Mr. Dan Roberts checks out A-OK with me, I'm keeping my big nose in this.
Oh, Ed, you don't have to worry about me and fortune hunters. That money that Mrs. Westingate left to Carl when she died is in escrow. I'll never touch it. It was to make up for Carl being hurt and saving her from the mugging. It isn't my money. It's only being held till the lawyers and I decide on the best charity for it to go to.
Your Mr. Roberts doesn't know that.
So the next time I see him, if I ever do, somehow I'll try to let him know.
You want to see him again, don't you, Susie?
Yes.
You really go for him in a big way, huh?
I didn't say that.
I've seen you hurt so bad once through nobody's fault. I wouldn't ever want to see you hurt again.
Well, I'm sure Dan would never do anything like that.
How can you be sure? Why did his wife run out on him? Where did she go? How come she dropped out of sight like a stone in a pond? Where is this Helen Roberts, if there ever really was one? There's a million questions to be asked, Susie. And what's more, answered.
Look, they can all wait, Ed. There's one of my own that has to be answered first. I'd made the appointment the moment I got back from lunch with Dan. Heaven knows I'd have made it for that same day, but Dr. Vane was out of town. It had to be tomorrow. Oh, how I wished it could have been my sweet old Dr. Chandler who treated me for the accident, but that dear good benefactor was over 9 years dead. His secrets, if there were any, had to lie with Dr. Vane.
I do remember you, Miss Ainsley. I'm sorry. Mrs. Hollis now, isn't it?
Yes, that's right, Dr. Vane.
Even though I was Dr. Chandler's assistant at the time, I don't know if you recall me.
Oh, of course I do, vividly. Those were the days when I knew who so few people were, including myself.
Terrifying thing, amnesia. Fortunately, yours was very short-lived.
Well, I hope it was. I thought it was then.
Does that mean you think you've been blanking out recently again?
No, I mean, not exactly. What I really want to make sure of is...
Is what, Mrs. Hollis?
Is whether the results of that whack on the head I got were ever really cleared up. I mean, maybe Dr. Chandler's the only one who really could have told me. I don't know if you have the facts to answer me. I just pray to God you have.
Well, we keep a record on all patients. Yours may take a little while to dig back to. Excuse me a moment. Nurse, will you look up for me in the inactive file a patient of Dr. Chandler's, Miss Ainsley. That's Ainsley, first name Susan. Now, while we're waiting, why don't you tell me what's worrying you?
Well, I'll have to begin at the beginning. I was 17 in 1964, fresh out of high school, and fresh out of Nebraska, arriving in the city, the big one, the only one where every dream comes true. Some of this only came back later, you understand, but I'm trying to tell it in one straight line, or maybe I'll get you lost, too.
I understand. Tell it any way you want to.
Well, my mother died when I was 15, and I'd been sort of keeping house for Pop. Just the two of us. Then he died, just after my graduation, and that was the end of my family. By the time I settled up everything and buried him, there was less than $1,000. I had to get away. So I paid my bus fare, kept $20 or $30 in my handbag, and stuffed the rest in my bra. That, with 2 big suitcases, were all I had. I could hardly lift them. New York, when I got there, was freezing cold, and there was black ice on the streets. Coming out of the bus terminal, I slipped and fell. hit my head. When I came to, I was in Bellevue Hospital.
A lucky thing you had those suitcases. I can recall Dr. Chandler telling me about you and saying if they hadn't broken your fall, you'd probably have broken your neck or ended up with a really serious skull fracture.
Oh, not to know where I was, where I came from, my name, nothing. Somebody had stolen my pocketbook with every piece of identification I had. I don't think I'd have ever remembered anything if Dr. Chandler hadn't tracked things down for me.
But he did.
Not only that, he got me the job training here at Physicians Hospital as a nurse's aide. And when he died, he left me enough money to go through secretarial school. In every way, he gave me a chance at life.
Yes. Amnesia is a frightening condition, but it didn't take you long to get your name back.
Well, it was 2 months. I know that Dr. Chandler gave me an identity and a name. But was it the right one?
What?
Was he just so sorry for me that he made up a name and a background and got people to call me from Lincoln and to write letters just so I could be called somebody named Susan Ainsley?
But that's who you are.
It's who I thought I was 2 days ago. Now I'm not so sure. I'm here today to find out if it's possible that I might be someone else. Someone called Helen Roberts.
Surprised? Or as is usual with good listeners, were you already ahead in this story as it unfolds, and at least half suspected this might be the case? Well, it will be up to the lady herself to tell you that when we return shortly with Act 3. Confusing story, isn't it? With all its twists and turns. But then, that's the fault of the young lady who's telling it. Because if anything has ever exposed you in your life to sheer and sustained panic, even the threat of its returning is enough to make the strongest understand the ostrich and feel like hiding your head in the sand. Susan, or Helen, or whichever she is, seems made of stouter stuff.
I went on naturally to explain about Dan and who Helen Roberts was, while the nurse came with the folder. Dr. Vane listened without interruption. When I finished, he sat back.
All right, Susan. Well, that's who you are. Now it's my turn. Amnesia is not a disease. It's a symptom, a byproduct of physical or psychological shock. In your case, a good solid bang on the noggin. Now, what on earth would make you think you might be getting it again? Just because you and Helen Roberts worked as nurses' aides at Physicians about the same time?
No, not so much that.
I should hope not. Because you were in children's ward, and she must have been in orthopedics. And you know the buildings are 5 or 6 blocks apart in this huge complex.
It wasn't that so much. It was the date.
The date?
April 14th, 1968, the day Helen left Dan. That was the day I met Carl.
Your husband?
Yes.
Well, I sense you're still uncertain about your identity. There are plenty of other ways to clear up, you know.
I know. I just wanted to take the shortest cut.
This man you met, this Dan Roberts, he rather swept you off your feet, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm afraid he did.
Then if you won't trust me, see your gynecologist.
What?
You and Carl never had any children, did you?
I never had a child.
Then how could you possibly be Helen Roberts, who had 2?
I was out of all the dark caves and the twisting caverns and into the sunlight. And the first thing I did when I got home was ring Dan.
Dan?
Yes, who's this?
The problem lady.
Susan.
Is that offer of a date still open?
Just name the time.
All right, tomorrow. Friday night. Where do we go?
Well, I'll pick you up at your office after work, and, we'll drive up into the country and have dinner.
Oh, it's a heavenly evening, Dan. I haven't danced in years. I was so clumsy.
Oh, that was me. I haven't danced in even longer, but it was good. I'll take every bunion and blister happily and come right back for more.
Oh, you couldn't have stepped on my feet. I was floating. What are we stopping for?
We're home. That is, your home.
Oh, shucks. Well, I'd invite you in for a nightcap, but I haven't anything.
Madam, you have everything in the world. But I tell you what I'll do. I'll make a bargain. I know you're tired. I'll let you go right to bed if you promise me tomorrow.
All right. What time?
All the time. I meant all the tomorrows. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, etc., ad infinitum. I love you. I love you, and I want us together.
Oh, Dan.
Kiss me.
Oh, Dan.
Oh, Helen.
Helen. Helen, you mean after all my long explanations this evening, you still think I'm Helen?
No, wait a minute. That just slipped out. I don't know what I think. It's just that you look so like...
No, Dan, no. That tears it. Don't you see it wouldn't ever work for us? No matter who you accept me as, you'd always be seeing Helen in me. And I won't. I can't be a substitute wife and lover. Goodbye.
Helen, Susan, wait.
Okay, buddy, just stay in the car.
Now, get out of my way. Who do you think you are?
There's the shield, Mr. Detective Sergeant Benton, New York Police. You heard the lady. Goodbye. Final. Now get in the car and drive.
Oh, I know you meant well, Ed, but why did you have to butt in?
The way it looks, you're better off without this guy.
Well, you could be right about that, but I'd like to mind my own business.
This isn't any business for you. I'm telling you, I got this straight from the Sandport police. They ain't closed the file on this guy Roberts. The way his wife disappeared and all. Okay, so she took a powder. That happens. But why doesn't she show up anywhere else? Huh? How come she never even comes back for the clothes and jewelry she left behind? Wait
a minute, Ed. Are you trying to suggest that Helen is dead?
He could have done away with her.
Dan? Oh, don't be silly, Ed. But if she isn't alive anymore... Oh, if I just knew that. Maybe there'd be a chance for both of us. I'd made up my mind before I got rid of Ed. The picture of Mrs. Freiberg was suddenly fresh in my mind, looking at me as though she'd seen a ghost. And I knew I had to talk to her. I took the 9 o'clock train to Sandport the next morning, looked her up in the book, and took a taxi to her house.
It's the craziest, mixed-up thing I ever listened to. But I believe you, Susan Hollis.
Well, with a birth certificate, driver's license, Social Security card...
Oh, forget those, honey. They could be faked. I'll tell you why I believe you. I thought about it that day after I bumped into you this week. You couldn't have been Helen. Not in a million bunch of Sundays. Not the way you look.
But I've seen a picture of her. We're practically double.
You saw a picture of her the way she was before she ran out on Dan. But the way she was the last time I saw her... Nobody could come back from that to looking like you.
When was the last time you saw her? Where?
Oh, 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. I went with some friends to an off-Broadway theater. There was a block right around the corner that's Prosty Row. You know, the men come down and pick them up by car or taxi. Helen was one of them. Oh, what a mess she was. She pretended not to know me. Said her name was Crystal White. I remember that name because it was such a stupid alias. And, oh, my dear, the way she looked. She was on drugs. I could tell.
Oh, why did she run away from Dan, Mrs. Freiberg?
Oh, the bored, the jaded suburban wife. Oh, this kind of routine was never for someone like Helen. You could have pushed a meat skewer through her ears and hit nothing. Nothing in her head but bells. And Dan married someone like that? I'll give Helen her due. She tried. Even the kids. But she just couldn't cut it. And Dan being away so much didn't help. She started in with marijuana. I could smell it sometimes when I went over there. Then when Dan came home, I suppose she graduated to the hard stuff. Easier to cover up. Oh, and that damned Ernie.
Ernie?
Oh, he used to drive the delivery truck for High Hill markets. Everybody takes from them around here. He was a pest. Tried to make all the housewives, and with that set of muscles and that wavy hair, I'll bet his score wasn't bad. I'm sure he was also peddling drugs. I know he was. Helen's supply. Just as I know it was him she took off with that day. Oh, that poor, silly jerk. Oh, does Dan know about this? Are you kidding? Everybody in this town loved Dan Roberts. Anybody who knew the truth about Helen, and there weren't many that did. They knew they'd get plenty from me if they let it out. You'd be surprised the goods that Lillian Freiberg has on folks in this town. I deal in real estate.
But just to let Dan think she'd walked out on him and the children...
The best thing that ever happened to him. And the best way to leave it.
Well, it was a sad, long ride in from Sandport. It didn't help to find Ed waiting for me in his car outside my house.
Susan, I've been waiting for you over an hour and a half. Where have you been?
It doesn't matter. Ed, I don't want to see anybody.
That's where you're wrong. You and me are taking a ride. Hop in.
I just had one. I don't want another.
You want this one. You don't know it, but it's Christmas. You listen to Santa, Ed, and I'll explain while we're on the way. Doors open. Get in.
All right.
First off, clean bill of health on your boy, Dan Roberts. He checks out A-OK. Owe him and you an apology.
Are you taking me to Dan?
No, he's on his way down where we're going in his own car. I broke the whole story to him. Now I gotta break it to you.
I could have saved myself the trip to Sandport. Ed and his boys, with the help of the Sandport police, had checked out that whole story. Only they'd taken it a giant step further, to a halfway house in Brooklyn, where we were headed for now.
I had all her things out on the desk already, you see, for the other gentleman, her husband.
Mrs. Whittle, this is the young lady I told you about.
Oh, yes. Oh, just let me change my glasses. These are for reading, and the others are... Oh, my, yes, you do. Just like her. Before, you know.
Before?
Before she got hooked on those awful drugs. They come here only at the end, really. Oh, I can't get over it. The sergeant only showed me your picture, and you didn't look like more than, well, sisters. But seeing you in person and comparing it to this picture, regular twins.
Oh, Ed, why did you bring me here? What difference does it make?
I just thought, Susie, that you ought to know your rival is gone for good and all. Now, if he's what you want, you don't have to play second fiddle anymore. Where's Mr. Roberts?
He went over to the grave. He said to ask the lady if she'd join him there. You know where it is, Sergeant.
Yeah. I'll show her where.
I came, Dan. Mrs. Whittle said you wanted me to.
I put some flowers on the grave. It looks so bare.
Oh, Dan. What can I say?
Thank God.
What?
You can say thank God for both of us. No, I'll change that. For all of us. Poor Helen there. No, it's a terrible gift, but the best she could have given us. Oh, Susan, Susan. There's only one name now, only one woman, and she's not Helen. I can offer you total belief now. Will you accept it?
Of course, Dan.
And me. You will marry me, won't you? There's nothing to stand between us now.
Well, there are 2 little girls in England.
Who can't wait for me to give them a mommy of their own. And I can't wait to write them to tell them I found the perfect one.
Because she's so like their own?
No, because she's just the opposite of their own. She's her own woman, which Helen never was. I want her to be my woman.
Oh, Dan. Oh, maybe we've both come home at last.
To stay, Susan. To stay.
A little like having been in a maze, isn't it? Twisting and turning, running into dead ends, the feeling of frustration, and a lurking, haunting feeling that maybe there is no way out, especially if the labyrinth is dark enough, as it was for Susan. And Dan, for them, for all of us, when we do find the way out at last, how much brighter the day is. I'll be back shortly. Susan Hollis is now Susan Roberts, and they do live in suburbia again. As a matter of fact, Lillian Freiberg found them the house at a steal. Living in the city would have been very expensive anyway, because there are 3 children now. Susan brought him something even more than a new marriage and a new life. A brand new son. Our cast included Kim Hunter, Larry Haynes, Joan Shea, and Sam Gray. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown.
Now, a preview of our next tale.
Go back 21 years?
Yes.
I'm afraid.
Afraid? Afraid to be young again? Afraid to have another chance, another lifetime?
How would a thing like this work?
You agree to go back for the express purpose of rectifying an unfortunate action that you committed under stress. You are given an opportunity to do it.
And then, do I come back here to the present?
That's difficult to say. You're going back there. Here won't happen for another 21 years. So, where here is going to be will depend on the new life you'd make for yourself.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.